intro music, it is different from TechnoAxe this time. And we'll give proper credit in due time. So, how's everybody doing? I hope you're all ready for some fun internet blood sports, verbal blood sports I do enjoy. Yes, I do. We have a weak disorderly conduct laws in Tennessee. Nice to know that, News Now Tennessee. And no comments I saw you troll in the comments section. I hope you do enjoy this. Anyway, continuing on. We are going to have a fun time looking at my last week's debate with Ichabod Orange and a former officer known as Bill Clinton on the Morning Kumite there. And Bill Clinton, I don't think, has any kind of YouTube channel or social media presence. Otherwise, I'd give him proper linkage. So this way you guys can give congrats on them hopping in and debating with me. Keep in mind, I wasn't really aiming for a really big debate kind of thing. I was just hopping in there for fun. And so, yeah, there are times where I'm slipping up and all that stuff. But you know what? It's fun practice. It's all fair and fun with the internet verbal blood sports. Andy Ray Swarsky, yes. Touch my niece, get the truck of peace, Andy Worski. Yeah, he's got quite the reputation. In fact, he's actually doing a live stream right now with Collins, I just noticed. But this should be quite the interesting thing. No wrench, this should be fun. Yes, I do enjoy the lack of wrenches. I very rarely go through and censor comments and stuff like that. Doing okay, Charlie Dog. I hope you're holding up pretty well. It seems you stirred up quite the thing over there in Texas. I know DeSoto PD really had to do some backtracking there, so. But let us go ahead and bring up the transition here to, there we go. Now if you notice I'm looking over to my right, that's because the screen is to my right, my webcam is to the left here. But let us go ahead and give proper credit to our music host. This time it was by Ross Bergen Music, The Wasteland. Very good track. I really liked it. He has royalty-free music available. If you have some spare coins or anything, you can always donate to him on PayPal. So check him out if you need something. And let us go ahead and get over to the Morning Kumite here. And I think I'm pretty close to where, yes, where is it? Oh, yeah, we're going to have Coach Redpill. I forgot, Coach Redpill's in here. I need to go ahead and give him credit for hopping in, though he did very poorly on the debating side of things here.
I'm sorry, you, sir, I don't know who you are. I'm CRP, and you are?
I am Bunny Boots Inc., or also known as David Werner, whichever one you want. Or you can use a shorter version of those if you wish.
Dave is okay? Great to meet you.
Dave works for me.
Great, great to meet you. I just caught like the sort of like the tail end, so you know, I'm old and clueless. So, what exactly do you do? I mean, you hang out at courthouses. What do you do there? I mean, I'm kind of curious. I have no idea what you're up to. I just caught the bit that you were being ejected from some courthouse by some police, and I'm just
all I was doing was I was there to film. I was there to film and to test to see if my civil rights would be respected in that regard.
Film what?
Film the courthouse itself, the structure, people that are going in, just everything that's there, anything that's going on. I film it, post it on YouTube. It's pretty much I go in, I test to see if civil rights are respected, post the footage to show the results on YouTube to my audience, of course.
So you're like doing like a public service,
essentially, in a way.
Yeah, you're making sure
other people
that
would say otherwise. Go ahead.
What would they say?
With this incident or in general?
No, in general. You said that other people would view it differently, and I'm kind of curious.
Well,
how would they?
As you can, I probably missed the part. The chat, they're torn on hating me or just they're neutral on me. Some people view me as a problem for the cops. I'm a time waster for law enforcement or something like that. I've been called all kinds of names for the most part for the kinds of stuff. I've been called asshole, dick, and all that shit too. But
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're going there. I just want to understand the purpose of what you're doing. You know, you're going there and you're filming outside the courthouse, and presumably people who have cases at court or they're doing stuff, they're going in and out, everything. Is that accurate?
Yes, I'm filming everything, people going in and out and all that stuff. So,
but I have to insist, what exactly is the purpose? I mean, you're not trying to film anything specific that's going on, right?
I'm just filming the general area. So
he's filming for the gotcha on law enforcement.
The what gotcha? What do you want to catch them doing? Like beating somebody up or something like that? I don't think they do it in front of the courthouse.
The whole reason why people follow police officers around and film them is because they want to catch someone in law enforcement making a mistake. So,
Yeah,
did we lose him?
No.
I think we lost him.
Pause here for a second. Just to let you know, there's occasions when the stream goes out for Bill Clinton there. He constantly has his connection was really horrible that day, so you'll have to forgive him on that part. And also, there's a few points in the Kumite's live stream where the audio drops out from the actual Hangouts, but that's just technical stuff and what happens when you got live streams going on. So, continuing on.
Yeah.
Yeah, catch him in a mistake so that the cops can be prosecuted for this mistake?
It can be documented, and hopefully the proper legal actions are taken to resolve that incident. How the legal system handles that is dependent on that jurisdiction and which agencies are involved.
So you basically go from courthouse to courthouse filming them all day?
No, I generally I stick around. My general rule of thumb is to film for 20 to 30 minutes, unless something of interest happens that makes me decide to stay longer to film. But,
so you go to a courthouse and you start filming.
I don't do this with just courthouses. I do this with infrastructure issues like ports. I do this with government buildings, police stations, post offices. Pretty much if it's important to the government or is considered vital infrastructure, I'll probably show up and film it from a public spaces.
So you go to a courthouse or any public infrastructure that's important, a port, an airport. I don't know what else, a bus stop for all I know.
Yeah, that would work too.
Something happens. To film it if something happens.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever actually filmed anything interesting happening?
I have. Let's see here.
I mean, apart from where your presence created a situation. I mean, have you shown up at like an airport and you saw as a plane crashed and you caught it? Okay.
Perhaps no, I have not had anything like that.
That's spectacular. Perhaps you've been outside of a courthouse and you saw somebody get shot. Because they got pissed off with the verdict and they got a gun and shot somebody. Have you ever like that or recorded anything like that?
No, I have not had any like those oddball viral incidences. I've never had anything like that happen.
Okay, the only times that you've had.
Yeah, it's funny with Coach Red Pill. He's trying to figure out why, and I don't think he completely understands the exercise of civil rights and the importance of that issue. And so he's sitting there asking, several questions there. He's just like, why? Well, there doesn't really need to be a why. If a person wants to stop and take a picture of something or to stop and record something, as long as they're in a public space or a place they're allowed to be at, they can record anything they want. That's how it is. Now, if it's like maybe the inside of a Walmart or something like that, well, guess what? The property owners can sit there and say, either shut down your camera or you have to leave the property. In which case, you got to leave the property if you don't want to turn off the camera. But the point still stands. Wherever you're legally allowed to be at, you're able to whip out that camera and start recording. Unless there's pre-established rules for private property, or you're told to leave the property because of your action right there. But nonetheless, my general target is government buildings and filming from public spaces that you're publicly allowed to be at. So, let us go ahead and continue on.
Had anything worth, posting insofar as like an interaction has been when your very presence has, I hate to use this word, but has essentially triggered the law enforcement who are keeping an eye on things on the courthouse, and they go and ask you, well, why are you filming this? Just before I hopped on, that you were like, okay. So you're basically just filming stuff and say it. But from my point of view, it seems that you're just like sort of like filming stuff until somebody at the courthouse or the whatever place you're filming gets a little bit annoyed and goes over there and says, hey, kid, why don't you go away?
You know what? I liked that comment there. Kentucky redneck citizen. Why do mountain climbers climb? Well, why does a mountain climber climb? Same old similar. That is exactly pretty much right there. I love that analogy. I'll try to remember that if I can.
Hey, potentially they slip up, they lose their temper, what have you, and it creates an incident. I mean, you're sort of like trying to create an incident. Is that accurate to say?
I'm not trying to create. I'm testing to see if they're going to go off the wall. I am literally being the bait car for like a police sting for car thefts.
Okay, but who said that, this is your job? I mean, how did you arrive at this profession?
I just
are you earning a living out of it?
I don't earn a significant income or revenue. In fact, I actually put more into this than I get out of it. And ad revenue and super chats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, how many? I don't know your channel. I mean, please forgive me. I don't know if you're huge or not. So I don't mean to be rude when I ask you. How many subscribers do you have?
I'm just shy of 10,000, though. Within the specific community that does this stuff, the largest channel is sitting around 54,000 subscribers.
Oh, so there's a whole community of people who are watching the cops.
Yeah, there's a huge community. In fact, it's actually almost every month there's about 2 or maybe 3 new channels that pop up.
This sounds like a subculture for Jim, And by the way, if Jim is listening, Jim, we miss you terribly.
And before I talk about Jim here, as Kentucky redneck citizen, or not Kentucky, Edward Hartgrove put out, the bait car, great comparison. Yes, it is actually the best comparison. Essentially, what is the problem with someone setting out some sort of bait that's legally out there to catch a thief? There's nothing wrong with me putting a package on my front doorstep and have a ton of hidden cameras all over that doorstep to catch a package thief on camera, or sitting there and maybe setting up a bait car situation where I leave the door unlocked and let's say put an expensive package in during like Black Friday or something like that, when car thieves are more likely to go and break into people's vehicles to get items and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with it, but yet people find that there is something wrong with it. It's really messed up. Let's see. Edward Hartgrove, and close to 100,000 subscribers. I don't think we're that quite high, but we are definitely getting up there and expanding, well, how large of a reach we're getting. But let's continue here.
You lazy bum, get back to making content, you little shit. That's what you're good for. Get back to doing it.
Oh, and yeah, before I forget, and Jim is also, he is a person that has done a video about sovereign citizens when he first came back to the internet a while back. He's known on YouTube as Mr. Metacore, or Billy the Anti-Bully, or Jim. And prior, he actually was known as the Internet Aristocrat. In a way, he is similar to me. He is old 4chan. He is old B. He is old Fagtard, or whatever you want to call it. And he just likes seeing things burn. He criticizes anything and everything. In fact, actually, the following day, me and him were on this... I got called in because he was on the same channel there. And unfortunately, the Morning Kumite guys sort of over-exaggerated what I was, because they were trying to say that I acted more like a sovereign citizen when I don't really act like a sovereign citizen. And also part of the fun yelling that will be coming up in probably about 15 minutes on the video will be me and like Ichabod and Bill Clinton yelling at each other, which is fun. I have to say, it is a fun stress relief. I enjoy doing Morning Kumite. I hope I'll have more opportunities to hop on or join other Kumite or blood sports kind of verbal challenge YouTube channels or stuff like that. But continuing on.
So anyway,
I have a question. I'm ex law enforcement.
Hi, Josh. Good to meet you.
Hey, CRP. I have a problem.
And just quick clarification: nuclear bomb guy is Bill Clinton, or also known as Josh. Well, we're in the chat there because that's what was his name title underneath his icon when we were talking. So
I don't know who. What's your name? What do you want me to call you? That I'm addressing.
Call me David. Just call me David or Dave or something like that if it makes it easy.
Oh, okay, David. I have a problem with something that you said earlier. Because what you said was categorically inaccurate. Like, you could get somebody arrested with information like that. You stated that if a police officer is having an interaction on a sidewalk with someone and people are walking 2 feet behind them, then you can legally stand 2 feet behind that police officer and film them. And there's nothing they can do about it. You're completely off your nut if you think that. If somebody's walking by and not paying attention, I personally wouldn't. I would be telling people to get back. But if I'm just having an interaction with someone, they're walking by, they're not a threat to me. If you're standing there with a camera a foot behind my head, I don't know you, and I don't know if you know the subject that I'm interacting with. If I order you to step back and you say, I don't have to by law, then I'm going to cuff you up and take you to jail for disobeying a lawful order.
That is not a lawful order if you have people that are moving behind you within that 1 foot.
You are not moving. You are standing stationary. You are a threat.
No, that person. How would that person be a threat if they're just sitting there filming?
If you're standing behind my back, you could very well try to grab my gun out of my holster. I wouldn't see you do it. If I give you a lawful command to step away from me and you do not do so, I would personally arrest you right then.
Well, reposition yourself where you can view both of them, or request the person to stand in a spot that is reasonable, like near towards your front.
Yeah, but
it's not my job.
You can't order them to stand away if you got the public walking right by you. It's been held up in court.
No, sir. I don't have to reposition myself.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry to hang on, just to interrupt and stick my nose here, but I just have to point out, I mean, in Josh's defense, I'm taking him as word that he's law enforcement, but yeah, it would seem, Dave,
ex-law enforcement. It's been a few years.
Okay, but stepping beyond, shadowing him and basically being in range to snatch his gun, wake out anybody to have somebody standing 2 feet behind them. 2 feet is not that fucking far, So it just seems that you're just annoying people, Dave. So why are you doing this? What utility is being served by you doing this?
I'm exercising my civil rights and documenting what happens.
I understand, but you're actually not doing anything other than just making people nervous for no reason. Because if there was an actual reason,
and yes, illogical. I mean, what was it? Edwards, stationary beings are a threat, but no, moving ones aren't. Yes, it is very illogical thinking on that part. And as I stated, someone, Paul Jetteron, yes, it is a 15, well, there is like the standard, if there's no one around kind of thing, 15 feet is the general idea, 10 to 15 feet, because if I remember correctly, it was discussed in either it was a case law or a settlement that 10 feet was pretty much good. I think it was Glick, actually, that had 10 feet. But the general rule of thumb is if the public's allowed to be there, and if they're walking within 5 feet, 2 feet of the officer, you're allowed to stand there too. It's wherever the public's allowed to be at the exact same time. That is the huge important issue on that with that aspect, because you're not taking any extra rights over the general public that is in the area, because the press don't get extra rights. You have the same rights as any other person on the street. You might maybe get a privilege of being able to go in the crime scene or something like that if you have a deal worked out with the police department. But that's a whole different matter and a different argument for a different day. Let us go ahead and enjoy continuing this. And I hope
because I don't know, you want to see that some court case, the result of some court case or something like that, but you're just there to provoke cops,
I'm not provoking anything. I'm just sitting there and showing up and filming, as is. And What I'm doing is
but you're basically saying that you're emphasizing your rights, but in a pointless manner, because your rights are not in the service of anything that's going on, of any utility. You're just there to piss off somebody or see if somebody gets pissed off enough out of it. Especially it's cop, which sounds kind of stupid if you ask me.
Hold on. I wouldn't do it. Services no utility is actually quite far from the truth, because we have instances in the past 10 years, several, where people have been arrested for pulling out their cell phones and recording police or law enforcement, or had law enforcement run up and snatch people's cell phones and cameras out of their hands. This has been documented for 10 years.
Yes. I'm not doubting that. And I am not doubting that there are a bunch of cops who don't respect people's civil liberties. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you who do what you do are needlessly provoking people into a reaction. A police choking somebody. Yeah, I'm going to whip out choking them for no reason, okay? I'm going to whip out my phone and film them. And if that cop tries to snatch my phone, I'm going to try to record that or run away or whatever, right? But I'm not going to go up to some random cop who's just, minding his own business and nothing's going on and stick a camera in his face. I mean, what exactly is the purpose other than provoking?
Who says I'm sticking the camera in people's faces?
You did when you said that you could legally stand 2 feet behind a police officer and film them. I'm not...
Whoa. And here's the fun part. I'm behind him. How is my camera in his face if I'm behind him? Come on. That argument makes no goddamn sense.
Hey, I'm not arguing at all with your ability to film a police officer. That's fine. As law enforcement, it doesn't bother me. What does bother me is when someone is trying to involve themselves in my interaction with a suspect. It's disrespectful and it's dangerous.
And as I stated, I said, as long as the person's standing there and not interacting or causing a problem with that interaction, they're perfectly good. And if the public is passing behind you at 2 feet or to your side at 2 feet, that person who is wanting the film can't stand where the people are allowed to be at. That's why you either move yourself from the situation or you close off that area and give yourself a nice little spot. In which
Are
case,
you looking in a mirror when you say that? Because it's not the police officer's job to move.
No, it is. Hey, it's the police officer's job to handle the situation appropriately. And on top of that, I don't need to stare in the mirror. I can stare at the camera that's right in front of me and look at myself while I'm saying all this stuff. Oh, I do love my Morning Kumite stuff. As I said, I hope I have another chance to debate it out with people. In fact, I've already challenged Ichabod, who will be showing up here, and let's see, we're at 51. About roughly 10 minutes, and you'll see why. And that reminds me, I will need to also reach out to the Batosai, because I think I'm going to need his assistance with Ichabod.
It's yours. If I give you a lawful
that is incorrect.
Step away and you don't do it, you will go to jail. And I'm telling everybody in this chat right now, do not listen to this guy. He will get you arrested.
Arrested doesn't mean you'll be successfully tried in court. I can say that much. And as I
No,
stated,
it does mean that you'll spend a few days in jail.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if you wouldn't want to go there.
Sorry,
fun.
Josh, you broke up. What was that last sentence there?
I said I wouldn't. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I've put. Doesn't look like.
Josh, unfortunately, you're breaking up. We can't hear you.
Let me refresh. I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, I really want to hear that last sentence there. It sounded really important. What he was trying to emphasize.
Well, I don't think he's going to be threatening you or anything like that, Dave. I think he's just saying.
I want to be able to. I want to be able to process and hear it, so this way I can give a proper counter. I want to be able to afford a proper response.
Well, I mean, like, so far as I'm glancing at the chat, and you're not winning this one, Dave. And a lot of people seem to be thinking, and live chat, correct me if I'm wrong. It seems that annoying cops and just making a nuisance of yourself. Isn't there something better that you can do with your time? I'm guessing that this is very time intensive. So isn't there? I mean, I know for a fact that I've got lots of better stuff to do than just stand around a courthouse filming.
Actually, Turner v. Driver gets brought up a little bit later. That's hence why when I get ready for my rematch with Ichabod Orange, that I said I was gonna need a little bit of assistance from the Batosai, or at least I need some statements from him. So, but it is quite the interesting thing, and I did see someone that said earlier, "Hi, I'm sorry I missed your name. It was something wife or whatever." Hi back there.
Some building that ain't gonna fucking move, and nothing much is gonna happen there, you know, and it just to become a nuisance to the cops, and you know, maybe provoke them into doing something that's gonna be noteworthy or up my subs or views. It just seems.
If I was wanting to go for that direction, I would be way higher, and I'd be causing more public disturbances. All I do is I show up and film. All I'm doing is exercising. What I'm looking for is to make sure that the security and law enforcement respect my civil rights.
Okay, I have one.
That's in that. And the thing is, they if they come up and interact with me, okay, that's okay. But the moment they sit there and say I can't do whatever, they're in the wrong. If they say I'm being trespassed or I'm being arrested for that action, they're in the wrong. In fact, there is a case out of the Fifth Circuit decided just last year on the specific issue called Turner v. Driver 2017. Was decided on this because there's a guy who was over in Texas filming a police station and was put in handcuffs, put in the back of a police car because he was filming a police station.
Okay, did they ask him to stop?
Yeah, they demanded he stop or something like that. It's been a while since I've seen the video, but nonetheless, they did not like the fact that he was filming. He refused, and they wanted to ID him, and they arrested him, which is illegal to do because they.
Well, it was
question, and this right here is just the crux of your argument. If you're not doing anything wrong, then why don't you go to any police department, hand them your ID, to do a ride-along officer? You're at every moment that you could possibly knows who.
Your connection is bad, Josh.
Yeah, I really want to.
Now, I'm going to address the ride-along issue here real fast. The thing is when you do a ride-along, usually there's agreement that you have to deal with when dealing with that situation. Now, I don't really know the full limits of the agreement, but there are times when they'll probably say you can't record or document in a certain way. Also, the fact is, they know you're there. When you're out there doing a First Amendment test or an audit, the objective is to show up and see how they handle you when they know, well, they don't know you're coming. And to see how it's to deal with the person that shows up out of the clear blue. Because you never know. Hey, I'd like a picture of this building, some random Joe. Take a picture. Guess what? We've had people that have had their rights trampled on because they sat there and was like, I want to take a random picture or do this random video. Or they're documenting something important. And yes, Edward Hartgrove, yes, there was a talking building that Honor Your Oath captured about, I think it was almost 4 years ago. And we managed to get one on film on Saturday there. That was actually quite fun. And that really put a... Saturday's activities really wore me out there. Okay, let's go ahead and get continuing on.
Be able to converse with you, Josh, but your connection keeps popping in and out with your voice.
Yeah. Oh, he's refreshing again, I guess.
Yeah. But I guess the best answer... Oh, wait, I think he's back. I see him back again.
Mm-hmm. Josh, are you back?
Hopefully that's a little bit better.
All right, do you remember what you were saying?
Do I? Yeah. I asked him, why does he not go to a police department, hand them his ID, and say, I want to do a ride-along with a police officer? That way he can be there for every moment of any excitement, any boredom. And
oh, yeah. Also, the ID part. Quite often, we don't want to ID ourselves in the first place. Because we've had bad issues when being identified. I figure I'd put that out there.
He's not provoking the law. He's not provoking law enforcement because they're aware of his presence and they know who he is. Why not do that?
Because then I'm unknown. I want to be the unknown person that's on the street. I don't want
you
to be...
want to start a bunch of malarkey with police officers who are just doing their job.
start a bunch of malarkey. The thing is all I'm doing is documenting their interaction, which I'm legally allowed to do and legally allowed to report on. This has been upheld in several court cases.
And there's a lot of reporters who ride along with police officers because it's far safer, and you will get better stories. Why not do that?
Because I'm not looking for a story. I'm just exercising civil rights and documenting how that works.
But you are looking for a story. That's the whole point. You're standing around, filming stuff and seeing if something happens. That's looking for a story. I'd do the ride along instead of just standing around.
I'm all about freedom of speech. I believe no matter how disgusting it is, you should be able to say it. But there's a difference when it involves safety, officer safety and public safety.
Whoa, hold on. Officer safety? Officers are extremely safe.
Really?
Their profession is not even the top 10 most dangerous professions. They die more often from car crashes than from getting targeted by other people.
When you are issued a firearm, when you are issued a firearm and a bulletproof vest and taught how to fight someone to the death as your starting training for your job, it is not safe.
Oh, I'm not saying it's completely safe, but still it's safer. I mean, I was in the military. That was part of my job training right there. Is guess what? Learn how to defend yourself. Learn how to kill that person. But still, police officers should not be out there being immediately shoot to kill and everything. They should be.
I didn't say that.
Now, how should I put this, guys? Me and another person that is actually going into being a police officer. They go by Weeaboo. If you look actually at the top tabs I have on here, we got into discussion about this issue. Now, they showed me it was 2016 data about cops and injuries and stuff like that. But one of the things that I sort of didn't realize until after that thing, because for me that debate was actually very last minute, and it was about officer safety and stuff like that, was that the job groupings were very, how should I put it, they were consolidated into large groupings. Where the list that I saw, which was from approximately 2015, and I can't find that list anymore because it's been at least over a year since I've last looked at that. Well, when I did look at it, was actually professions broken down by their actual occupation, like it was electrician, store clerk, and stuff like that. Whereas this one, they actually, the one that's shown in that specific one, is a grouping of construction work, and then it covered all the trades within construction, and they had farm work, which was all covered in one thing. And so it was a different way of grouping of things. So it depends on how you group it and where law enforcement is going to be placed within that listing. So just keep that in mind. That list is subjective on how the reporting is done on it and how it is listed. Anyway, we'll go ahead and continue on here, and
I said got something interesting here. Something interesting. Dave, you say that you were in the military.
Yes.
Please, could you elaborate a little bit further?
Disabled veteran, served in the Army for 4 years. Did one deployment to Iraq.
Okay. How long was your deployment? I don't know nothing about the military, so you tell me.
The standard deployment at that time was 1 year.
Okay, you like did you see combat or you know, do you see combat? You were like shooting people or in an office or a combination? I mean, please tell me.
I was a FOBID. I stayed on the base sort of for the most part. I pretty much the worst we got was mortared. So
you had to stand a post on a base, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're standing a post on a base, it's up to you, completely unidentified, you've never seen him before, and start standing 2 feet behind you with a camera, what are you going to do?
You mean out in the Middle East or something like that? Where
Anywhere.
Okay, well, the thing is there's a big difference between here in the United States and being deployed overseas.
Oh yes, as whoops, dang it, keep losing my window here. As OV fuck you stated, the stolen valor part, oh yeah, was pretty sad. In fact, when me and Jim talked the following day, there was the whole thing about trying to prove that I was stolen valor, and oh my god, so many people tried so badly to push that narrative. It was so hilarious. I was sort of chuckling. I'm sitting here like, let me get the paperwork out, let me look here, and all that stuff, and yeah, I'm getting quizzed left and right, but pretty much I easily have given the proof that people needed to say, yeah, he's most likely military, blah blah blah. So,
I got to deal with whatever the regulations tell me what to do on that issue. For
would
me,
you,
it would be
would you think it's a safety issue?
A safety issue? I don't even know what the guy's doing there first. As long as he's out where he's not causing a problem or whatever, I'm just going to call it in and say, hey, I got this guy that's out here filming. What do I need to do? What's my next actions?
So you think that it's completely fine for someone to be filming your guys' movements, and that's not a safety issue?
Hey, as is, if they're not in the thing, I have to know them, because what am I going to do? Go out there and arrest them because they're filming me? Guess what? They have rights too.
Saying
even over there in the Middle East. I clearly stated earlier,
someone stands away from me while they're filming. I don't mind if they stand away from me while they're filming at all. I'm stating, close to me, especially behind me, they pose a physical threat.
Well, in which case, just move yourself where you can keep both in the eye. And as is, that is on your responsibility there.
It's completely within my scope to issue a legal order for you to stand away.
It is.
It wouldn't be legal if
sorry, gentlemen. Unfortunately, I have to leave. But it seems to just a final word I want to say, Dave, and I'm sorry for leaving this out there. But it seems that Josh is being very reasonable. If, as a police officer, he gives a lawful order, you, as a lawful citizen, have to comply if it's a reasonable request. And not standing behind the police officer, it seems to me, is a perfectly reasonable request. So I'm on Josh's side. But anyway,
in court.
Okay. All the best. Thanks.
Yeah. But
it's not always a lawful order when it comes out of the goddamn mouth. We know this very well because there's many times where auditors and testers and people that are exercising their rights have been given orders by police officers and they were not legal. We've documented this many times across the United States in the last 5 years. And yes, CRP seems very self-important. And when it comes down to, I mean, getting into the arguments, he's bad at debating. And believe me, I would love to have a chance to take another whack at CRP. Coach Red Pill, yeah, he just doesn't fully understand. And he's the guy that sort of likes to shift with what's popular kind of thing. And if this ever became popular, I could see him probably trying to get in on it, but as is, I don't think this will get as popular as many of the other things that are on there on YouTube, that are out there on YouTube. What we do is a very niche thing. We're going out there, documenting, exercising our civil rights and stuff like that. It's not going to be a big thing. I never expected it to be as big as it is. I always thought it was going to be niche. I'm surprised how big this thing is. But nonetheless, when an officer gives an order, it's not always legal. In fact, we've documented it several times. Ah, yes, I see, OV. Well, the problem is, this is not true Kumite. I'm reacting. And here soon, Ichabod Orange will be making an appearance. And we'll definitely get some true blood for the blood gods going of yelling and laughter. And hopefully we'll have some more fun with that in the near future. So let us go ahead and continue.
As is, it comes down to it, the officer has to have a reasonable, as I said, you can ask them to stand where they're not behind you. That's a reasonable request right there.
And that's what I said.
Sit there or move yourself. But the thing is there still can be 2 feet if the general public is 2 feet. And they can sit there and say, no, I'm going to stand where the public's allowed to be at and ignore that request. And you could sit there and try to say it's a lawful order when in fact, it's not. In fact, there is a former cop that is involved in this movement and can tell you that a lot of the time that they're stating it's a lawful order is a bunch of malarkey itself.
I want to state this just so it's out there. I'm not saying this is the way the law is or law enforcement is anywhere else in the world. I'm specifically talking about where I worked. But I'm telling you right now, I had every right to take you to jail if you did not obey my order to stand away from me if I told you to. And that goes for anybody in the general public. And the reason why I'm stating that, like I said, is because of officer safety and because of safety of the public. If the person that I'm interacting with, I have no idea if you might try to jump me so he can avoid going to jail.
Oh man, I would love to have an opportunity with Bill Clinton / Joshua here and Texas Sheepdog on at the same time. Imagine how awesome that debate would be. I would love to have those two like on the Kumite or something like that. That would, just imagine that kind of conversation. You know it'd be great. There probably would be some blood sports going on for sure with that one.
That may sound ridiculous to you. It doesn't sound ridiculous to me. What I'm stating to you is stop feeding people bad information, because you're going to get someone arrested because they think they have the right to be a jackass when they don't.
I call those jackasses out, and the thing is I've called out a person that's walked right into the middle of a crime scene filming thinking he could do that. As is, I say, don't go in and where you're actually screwing with them. But I'm saying, if the person is standing in a public spot where the public's allowed to be, if there's people passing on the sidewalk, that person can stand there too. Okay. And if he's right behind you, guess what? He's right behind you. And you can cite officer safety and all that stuff. Yeah, go ahead and arrest him. Guess what? Now you're getting your damn city suit. It's happened. And that's what I'm telling you.
Where has someone been arrested for the sole purpose of... Because now, step lightly here. If someone is filming, and I don't say dick all to them about them filming, but I tell them to stand away from me, stop standing behind me, and they don't do it. It has absolutely... They could be standing there talking on the phone. It doesn't matter at that point if they do not listen to my order, and it is a lawful one because I'm concerned about my safety and the safety of the public. If I issue that order and they don't do it, they'll go to jail. They will get convicted. That is a cut and dry sentence. It's not...
No, it is not, because we've had several auditors and civil rights activists exercise their rights, be arrested for it, and never get prosecuted. Me being an example of it. Wasn't I arrested for trespass, nearly 3 years ago? And the charges never went through? Yeah.
Not hard at all to understand that.
Peaceful Streets movement out of, out of Austin, Texas. Antonio Bueller. He's been involved in several cases where he has been arrested for filming police.
And also to add further clarification, I don't know everything off the top of my head. I'm actually pretty bad at recalling a lot of things. That's part of the reason why I started in filming and documenting a lot of things, actually. But nonetheless, not just Antonio Bueller. Mike Bluehair was down in Austin with the Peaceful Streets Project group filming and was arrested with Antonio at one point because they were filming. And they were let go, and it took forever to get their property back.
Oh,
and crowded situations. 5th Street, I think it's...
And this guy is a former cop. In fact, Failure is Unstoppable, who is one of the moderators, or one of the people that help host the Morning Kumite, said he can vouch for that. He has seen him in uniform. So there we go. There's our clarification now on that aspect.
The bar crawling area.
And who has been arrested?
I only caught a part of that, Josh. What was that full sentence?
I said I wouldn't be taking advice.
I wish this connection.
Josh, your connection is...
Hold on, betraying you.
Yeah, I know. I really want to... I'm really enjoying this exchange, but this internet keeps screwing them over.
But if you think anyone here became a cop, you would soon be violating people's rights and power on corruption. That's interesting, David Smith.
Because we're just waiting for him to come back.
Yeah,
this time. If he doesn't come back this time, I guess he doesn't. But I think
yeah, but I'll finish up stating that. Oh, he's back.
Hopefully, that's a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah. What was that last sentence there?
I said that I wouldn't be taking the advice topic if from somebody who's been arrested doing that topic.
Well, No, as is. He's been arrested and he's sued in court. He's also a law student, well, a former law student. I'm pretty sure he's graduating and all that stuff. And he's taken the Austin Police Department to task several times in civil court on that specific issue.
Did he win?
Yes.
What did
As
he
I said,
win for?
Huh?
What did he win for?
The filming aspects and stuff like that. He's as I said, I have to go back and look up the case laws on the court decisions on that
If
stuff.
if he was arrested for wrong, arrested for disobeying, sorry about his damn luck, he should have listened.
Your sentence cut out. I have only caught something like wrong and then arrested, and that was about it, man.
If he was arrested for filming, that's wrong. But if he was arrested for disobeying a lawful order, sorry about his damn luck.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is they throw all kinds of charges at you when it comes to the prosecution time. And they don't just throw, okay, it's for filming. No, they can't sit there and state that. They sit there and go public disturbance, obstruction of justice. They throw in all those catch-all laws kind of shit.
That's not a catch-all law. If he is obstructing justice, he is. Do you not see the flaw in your argument here?
Those laws are very broad and can be easily construed to use for a lot of stuff.
You do realize that.
Josh.
Damn it, Josh.
Yeah, if you give it a second, try again to state that last sentence there.
Police officers do not prosecute.
I keep getting the feeling he's dropping shit and it's gonna be good, but he keeps cutting out. And
Hold on.
Yeah, he's dropping good shit. I can tell he's dropping good shit, but it's just like it keeps cutting.
Tonka, I'll be back in just a moment if that's okay.
Oh, you're okay.
Okay, cool beans.
Fuck. Let's see.
And well, the thing is Josh there comes from a different
Back
time
soon, I
period.
suppose. We're still topic's still going. We stick with it until it's done.
When did Ichabod
One way or
pop
the
in?
fucking other.
Here, I'm gonna skip ahead a little
Stop
bit here.
recording.
Okay.
What are you referring to? Standing behind the...
Do not prosecute.
I keep getting the feeling he's dropping shit and it's gonna be good, but he keeps cutting.
Turner v. Driver, 2017.
Yeah.
You can tell he's
okay, there we
dropping
go.
good shit.
Us forever. This is the last one of the day.
Case, specifically, I know the person that was involved in it, and we do talk every now and then.
Okay, this is where Ichabod Orange drops
We
in.
hear you.
Hi. You quoted the Philip Turner versus David. Sorry, let me go back. up to
Turner
the
v.
top
Driver, 2017.
Yeah, the driver case. So, can I ask why first before I get into this? Can I ask why you quoted that particular case?
Because that case, specifically, I know the person that was involved in it, and we do talk every now and then specifically about that case.
So why did you use that particular case as part of your argument?
Well, because he was arrested and detained for filming in public a police department, and I was stating that.
And I will say that yes, the violation of the Fourth Amendment right was violated for arresting him.
Yeah.
But in that same case, the conclusion states that the majority asserts, unconnected to particular facts and necessary to the disposition of this case, that a First Amendment right to record the police does exist, subject only to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions.
And that's where he makes a mistake. Okay. We'll just look up that specific quoting. The majority asserts that unconnected to the particular facts and unnecessary to the disposition of the First Amendment right to record police does exist, subject to the reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. The majority derives the general right to film the police from First Amendment principles controlling the authority and pervasive precedent, but the Supreme Court has repeatedly reversed attempts to define clearly what established law at such high level generality, referring to a a Supreme Court case that actually deals with freedom of speech and expression, which was dealing with, I think it was a abortion clinic, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. And, and there's also another part. This is not part of the deciding factor. This was a dissenting judge. I made this mistake before myself on a case that also was dealing with the border, well, out of Texas, dealing with the Border Patrol. In fact, I pinned the person that was involved comment on that video specifically to show that I was wrong on that specific issue. But, as is, when you look further up, when they reference time, place, manner, restrictions in the actual decision. As the First Circuit explained, the filming of government officials engaged in their duties in a public place, including police officers performing their responsibilities, fits comfortably within the basic First Amendment principles. This right, however, is not without limitations. Like all speech, filming the police may be subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. In this case, however, we need not decide which specific time, place, and manner restrictions would be reasonable. Nonetheless, we note that when police departments or officers adopt time, place, and manner restrictions, those restrictions must be narrowly tailored to serve a significant governmental interest. That said, to be constitutionally permissible, a time, place, and manner restriction need not be the least restrictive or least intrusive means of serving the government's interests. And this is the deciding paragraph, or the final paragraph within the First Amendment argument of the court's opinion. And then when we go back down to down here to the actual decision, actually it would be just quicker for me to do this number and then scroll up. What did I pass it? First Amendment. Oh, that's why I screwed it up. We affirm the district court's grant qualified immunity to Grinolds, Diaz, on driver the three officers on the First Amendment claim on his and on his Fourth Amendment claim for unlawful detention. With respect to Turner's Fourth Amendment claim for unlawful arrest, we affirm the district court to grant qualified immunity to driver, but the reverse on the other two officers for the violation of the Fourth Amendment. Now, let's see here. The Fourth Amendment claim for unlawful detention. They viewed the detention as lawful, at least within that part. But the arrest aspect was the unlawful part. Now, later on, we'll be getting into an argument specifically dealing with the difference between stuff, a Terry stop, which Terry v. Ohio, which covers the detention aspect, and of course also arguments with Brown v. Texas. And let me go ahead and pop this back over, hit the play, and get my chat box back up.
Yeah, and he had proper time, place, and manner restrictions in that case. And if you go back and look at various
But
time,
the
place,
question
and manner,
is, do you?
Who, me? Well,
Yes.
well, what are you referring to? Standing behind the standing behind the cop kind of thing, or?
Well, that's just, I'm going to be honest, that's just you being a dick.
Yeah, literally.
Let's be fair,
can
that's
honest.
just you being a dick.
That is just being a dick move, an asshole move. I agree with that part, and I'm arguing the legal basis here.
I don't, like, from what I'm seeing here is reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. If you're sitting out in front of a courthouse recording the comings and goings, they have every right to come and talk to you and request ID and give you a little bit of shit for being out there.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, like, the audio ends up cutting out here. We lose it for a moment. Let me skip here. Try to get back.
His First Amendment rights.
that wasn't a slap on the wrist. They're just saying you have no argument.
Turner did.
Okay. Here it comes back, and this is actually a very important thing, because this is where I want to actually talk to Turner, Philip Turner, the Batosai, and get his opinion on this. So this way I can bring it to him.
All it's saying in this entire case is both parties were said, don't do that again, slapped on the wrist and sent away.
No, it was the police that were slapped on the wrist that said, don't do this again.
Mr. Turner was also slapped on the wrist because he attempted to make a case that his First Amendment rights were also violated. And
Well,
the court here
he's
says, in its conclusion, that he was told that they did not violate his First Amendment rights.
That was
Okay, here's the deal. He did not get a slap on the wrist. They just said that there's no case here on the First Amendment issue. That's all they stated. In fact, I think I state that a little bit later on with this case law. And that's the question I want to ask the Batosai and get his response on this. And I would recommend, hey, you guys all pop over there and ask him, did he get a slap on the wrist in this lawsuit for the trying to push the First Amendment thing? Because to me, it just sounded like the court said, no, you don't have a case. That's all they did. There was no, like, penalty or anything like that. Not that I could see.
wasn't a slap on the wrist. They're just saying you have no argument.
Turner did not allege that he filmed police officers conducting their public duties, but rather that he filled a police station. However, those cases focused on a narrow issue, and the amendment right was because they were coming and going from the police station. And that classifies as a, where is it? An established risk.
Yes, it's obvious that filming a police station would be an established risk because...
Okay, before we get into the whole risk part, let's do a quick check here. Clear this up. Let's do another round. Let's see, risk. How many times risk is mentioned in here? Twice. Okay, first time. Okay, risk is mentioned in a citation. And this specific citation is 63. Let's go ahead. Where is 63? Okay, so this is part of a larger sentence. Fourth Amendment is concerned with ensuring the scope of the... Oh, wait, no, that's a different citation. Turner alleges that when Reynolds and Diaz approached him, he was videotaping the police station while walking on the sidewalks across the street during midday. Nothing in the amended complaint suggests that Turner was videotaping arrests, a traffic stop, or any other action or activity being performed by the police in the course of their duties. On contrary, Turner's complaint states that he was filming only the routine activities of Fort Worth Police Department building. On appeal, Reynolds and Diaz referenced several attacks on police officers and police stations, including those in Dallas, Austin, and the resulting increase in security at police stations. 63. And this is actually just referencing some stuff. Let's see, let's go ahead and read the reference. See example, Josh Hain and Joe Sutton of Dallas Police HQ shooting. Okay, that's a listing to a news article. We are all very familiar with that, actually. Another article referencing an Austin shut down police because there was a shooter that shot up the police station back in that 2014. Gunmen opened fire at 4 different buildings, including the Austin Police Department. Oh, wait, that's right. It was 4 different buildings. It wasn't just specifically the police department. It just probably so happens the police department had personnel in there because the police department is operating at 24/7. Headquarters, an officer about to get off duty saw the suspect near HQ and opened fire on the suspect who fell to the ground. Specific facts and propositions of generalized knowledge, which are capable of being immediate and accurate determination by resort, easily accessible for the source and indisputable accuracy, may be judicially noticed. Weaver v. United States, 5th Circuit, and also United States v. Ramos of the First Circuit, including that the officers had reasonable suspicion that criminal activity was afoot under the totality of the circumstances, including the officers were particularly alert to the risk of attacks on public transit systems in light of coordinated terrorist attacks and on a Madrid commuter rail trans less than 3 months earlier. And we see the argument that terrorists won by taking away our rights kind of thing right there. But that is part of their little statement. We get the idea on that part. But as is, we have seen the argument that yes, they're allowed to do a detainment and ask questions and stuff like that. But there's a limit at how far they can go, and we already saw that his rights were violated because they put him into a de facto arrest when they end up detaining him. Oh wait, no, that's right. Before I forget, here, where's the other part? Oh, risk. Okay, and risk is further down, and this is actually part of a larger citation of 74. which, let's see here, where is 74, 73, 74 is this. And is this before the affirmed, or is this part of the... Be arrest. Okay, yeah, so this is actually part of the deciding factor. Although Turner has not alleged the length of time that he was detained in the back seat of the patrol car, Granadillas' action of handcuffing Turner and placing him in the in the patrol car were disproportionate to any threat that Turner posed or any investigative needs of the officers. Ah, key word. Although, right here, disproportionate to any potential threat that Turner posed or to the investigative needs of the officers. And they lay out within the citation, the appeals rely on the case of United States v. Bullock, 7th Circuit, United States v. Maltas, out of the 8th Circuit, and Hines v. City of Los Angeles, out of the 9th Circuit. To argue the actions did not amount to de facto arrest, these out-of-circuit cases, however, are in opposite. In Bullock, the defendant was handcuffed and placed in a patrol car for 30 to 45 minutes while officers executed a search warrant for narcotics. In Bullock, the 7th Circuit found that while the facts approached the outer boundaries of permissible Terry stop, the defendant's seizure did not amount to a de facto arrest. Given the officers were conducting a search for drugs, it was reasonable to place the defendant in handcuffs and in a squad car for their safety while they pursued the investigation. Drug crimes are associated with dangerous and violent behavior and warrant higher degree of precaution. Officers could reasonably believe that the defendant was potentially dangerous and a flight risk because of awareness of the search warrant, his association with the residents, and the officer's reasonable suspicion that he was involved in narcotics distribution. They didn't have that kind of information about Philip Turner, the Batosai, when he was filming. It didn't obviously have anything for arrest or to have that prolonged detention. Kind of situation there. Now, let's get back to the Morning Kumite.
Because if you were planning an attack to kill police officers or planning to break someone out of jail, you would want to do surveillance. If we catch you doing that, then we have every right to absolutely investigate every facet of your life to make sure you're connected.
Yeah, but casting
or planning an escape.
Yeah, just even casting that aside, they have every reason to tell you to go away and stop recording.
Well, they can ask you, and they can try to tell you, but
it would be
you have
reasonable for security reasons to restrict individuals from filming police officers entering and leaving a police station, also from the exact same case you quoted.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and look up this quote. Okay, let's look up the restrict of filming part here. Okay, I have a feeling that is in the dissenting area. Let's take a quick look. Let's see here. The majority, perhaps reasonable reason to restrict individual. Oh, yeah. Well, this area is the dissenting judge area here. He is once again reading the last part, which is the dissenting judge's opinion on the matter. The majority does not determine the officers here violate Turner's First Amendment right. Perhaps it was because there would be reasonable for security reasons to restrict individuals from filming police officers entering and leaving a police station. Because the majority did not hold that the officers actually violated First Amendment, the officer conducting under similar circumstances in the future will not have violated any clearly established law. And once again, they're citing the time, place, manner restrictions that were laid out within the White v. Street. Let me see if I can get the actual title of this one, because it was cited further up. Hold on. I just need to copy-paste this and get that part searched out here. Okay, that... no. That's not it. Where is the full citation of this? Okay, yeah, here it is. White v. Pauley. 137. Yep, this would be it. White v. Pauley 137. And let's go ahead and do a quick search on this one to make sure. White v. Pauley, SCOTUS, PDF. This case addresses the issue of officer who, having arrived, witness shots. Okay, wait, is this the right one? No, I don't think this was the right one, was it? Yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure it was. White v. Polly, 137. Okay, 137. Okay, never mind. I'm incorrect in the citation. No, this is dealing with, because I took a quick look at this case. This is dealing with officers responding to a DUI call where they end up finding the place where the guy resided. They approached it, and there was a shootout at some point. And dealing with the right to defend and stuff like that. I got to sit down and actually read this case because this case was decided actually just last year too. So this is a really new case to look at.
Amen.
Well, as is
From the conclusion of the case you stated. This was your supporting argument.
But we have other arguments that state that we're able to film anything that we can see from public. So if that's
you can
visible,
film it.
Arguments are not
asked to
established
go-
court.
Hang on.
Oh, sorry, Ichabod.
Yeah.
If you're asked to stop recording, or even just to back away from the building, why is it that big of a deal?
Because
Why
that
be a
person,
dick about it?
No, I'm saying that the person has every single right to continue standing in a public spot in film.
Yes, they do. However,
I'm arguing
it would be
right to
reasonable for security reasons to restrict individuals from filming police officers entering and leaving a police station. That falls under reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions.
No, that doesn't, because
Oh,
ACLU
but
The case you
Alvarez,
stated.
the 7th Circuit.
The case you stated.
David.
I stated multiple
Turner
cases.
versus Driver says this in its document. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
And guess what, buddy? And as I tried to state, ACLU v. Alvarez, Glick v. Glick v. Kumite out of the 1st Circuit. We have a case, Fields v. City of Philadelphia, out of the 3rd Circuit. Out of the 9th Circuit, we have 2 cases. One for Seattle, one out of, like, Guam, if I remember correctly. That's a territory. That actually contradicts that specific part. There is other case laws on this. I have covered several of these case laws already on my channel in the past 3 months, reading them to you. So you guys have those references. So this way you can go and research that to double check it. Let us go ahead and continue.
guess what? Not every single argument that comes out of a court is correct anyway, and that's why I'm also citing other cases here.
Supporting your argument.
I stated also Fields v.
Oh, that's a good one. Ichabod, pick up that can. I love that one.
City of Philadelphia. I stated Fields v. City of Philadelphia earlier.
Case. Let's talk about this case.
Okay, in this,
Because this is the case I'm talking to you
he has a legal right to stand there. The courts may say that, but guess what? If he gets arrested again, and in fact, we already had a guy that got arrested, and that cop's no longer employed from what I understand.
To point out, the arrest was unlawful.
Yeah. And
The
they
court
can't
did
sit there.
say that the arrest was unlawful.
Okay,
But they also
so-
said that he didn't have the right to record there.
No, they did not! They said there was just no case. There was no First Amendment case because of the arrest. That's all they stated.
Under reasonable restrictions of time, place, and manner.
And I
This
want
is in the
to
court-
add
this is in the
something
case
to that,
you
Ichabod,
gave me.
too. I want to add something else to that. If you state, well, I want to film this police station for my video, guess what? Every police station in America will give you pictures or video of their department so you don't stand there filming and cause a security risk. All you have to do is put in a request for public records and you got it. It comes back to the very similar thing, like, why don't you just ask the police to go on a ride along with them? All you're doing is you're showing that you're just walking around provoking police officers. And
Okay, I noticed people commenting that it muffles and stuff like that. That is not on my connection. That was actually the Hangouts recording connection, or the recorded connection on their part. It shouldn't really be all that distortion of sound and sound issues is coming from the Morning Kumite recording from when it was archived and being live streamed. Unfortunately, when you're doing live streams, you cannot have a constantly good connection. There's going to be issues with audio dropping, video cutting out, and stuff like that. Right now, from looking at my streaming software, it's been fairly good. It's either been yellow or green, so we haven't had much of an issue on my connection, or at least from the looks of it. But back on to this argument here, which, dang it, I forgot. What was it they were stating? Okay, let me back this up. It's 30 seconds here.
It's what? If he gets arrested again, and in fact, we already had a guy that got arrested, and that cop's no longer employed from what I understand.
To point out, the arrest was unlawful.
Yeah. And
the court did say that the arrest was unlawful.
Okay.
But they also said that he didn't have the right to record there under reasonable restrictions of time, place, and manner.
And I want to add something to that, Ichabod, too. I want to add something else to that.
Oh, yes, public records. Okay. Here's the thing. The public records aspect that these guys will actually begin to argue here in a few minutes. Guess what? Every state has different public records laws. And when it comes down to it, when in some states, like North Carolina, it is extremely difficult to get certain public records, especially when they relate to police. And it maybe you might be lucky where you're in Florida, where they have extremely gracious public records law. Honor Your Oath and several other people that have been active in Florida have shown exactly how good their public records law are. And when you compare them to other states, like maybe Utah, where in order to submit a public record, you have to give a bunch of your own personal information to go and get it. At least with Alaska, when I try to when I go and put in public records requests for my stuff, I don't have to necessarily give my name. I can give an alias or whatever, and go in and pay with cash if I don't really want to be tracked on that issue.
If you state, well, I want to film this police station for my video, guess what? Every police station in America will give you pictures or video of their department so you don't stand there filming and cause a security risk. All you have to do is put in a request for public records and you got it. It comes back to the very similar thing, like, why don't you just ask the police to go on a...
Well, here's the thing. I don't want their pictures. I want my own pictures. I want to go out. If it's a foggy day, I want to go out and maybe take a picture when it's foggy, when the lights dispersed. Less shadows or something like that. Maybe I want to go out there and get a night shot or something like that. I don't want to sit there and depend on their dime to go and do it when it's something I can easily just go and do myself in like 10 minutes instead of having to sit there, hand in the paperwork, and have to pay for that public record.
Right along with them. All you're doing is you're showing that you're just walking around provoking police officers. And not every cop is bad. And I want to state this too, because you couldn't hear me before. Look, police do not prosecute anyone. When you were talking about, police add charges and whatnot, no, they don't.
I didn't say the police. I said that the prosecutors add the additional charges. What the police do is arrest on the crime, put it down on the paperwork, and the prosecutor decides, are we going to try this case or not? Or are we going to add more charges and all that stuff? I do agree on that aspect.
I'm glad that you stated that, because before you left it very, very short.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I was trying to get more to the point, but yeah, I understand that very aspect. I've studied the law quite a bit. For the last 5 years, I've been reading court cases, legal documents.
So why did you give me this case that doesn't support your argument?
As I stated, the reasonable time, place, and manner restriction. As I stated, it's been that has been argued against in other cases. ACLU v. Alvarez, 2012.
Okay, we're talking about this case, because this is the one I have an issue with. Because you gave...
And here's the thing. He gets very focused on just this one specific case. The problem with law is it's always a fluid thing. And there's always contradictions within some of the case laws, where, especially if it's only decided on the appeals level. As is, though, in general, most of the cases that have been dealing with this situation have said people have a right to record in public. That's pretty much about it, and that is stated in that this specific case too, that people can record in public. In fact, it references Glick v. Cunafe within it.
gave me a case that doesn't support your claim.
Yeah, and
Did you
I'm
think
also
I would
pointing out
look it
there's
up?
other cases that disproves that specific statement right there.
So why give me the case that's been disproven?
I said I
Did you
gave
just
multiple
think I
cases.
wasn't
Why
gonna
do you
look
think
it
I
up?
cited Fields v. City of Philadelphia? I have stated multiple cases
Which
throughout this entire
actually
thing.
also only says that you can film them in public areas.
Yeah, and
what is it? What is it? Carrying out of their duties in public, which means not the police station.
The police station is in public.
the police station is open to the public.
It's
and
a federally owned
it-
building.
Huh?
That is a bad argument right there. The police station is usually a municipal, state, or county-owned building. And as is, it is still public. The areas where you go in, like the lobby area, that's a public area. Where you go and deal with maybe traffic ticket pays or whatever aspects that you have to deal with at the police station. There is a public lobby at almost every single police station that I have seen. Now, substations, it may be a little bit different area, but guess what? I mean, you usually don't go into a substation.
Theater, and you're not allowed to. A lot of public
And
places.
I'm not even saying you're bad for filming the police station. I'm just saying if they ask you to step back or stop filming because of some reason,
And
respect
as I,
that very simple request and not be a dick. That's all I'm
Well,
asking
and-
is don't be a dick, man. Like,
But we're allowed to
the
be
whole
dicks.
reason I want to come in here is that freaking security guard, that poor man who had to come there and stand next to you, where you don't say shit to him, and he's just trying to get a laugh out of you, which he's not. Man, just be like, hey, I'm just filming. At
Well,
least give the poor man a response.
the entire
He
point
has
of
to
when
do
I-
that. It's his job.
And by the way, security guards don't make a lot of money. Hell, police officers don't make a lot of money.
Regardless of them making a lot of money, the man has to come out there and babysit you because you won't talk to him.
Hey,
That could be a
it's not my
5-minute in,
job.
out, done.
It's not my
Yes,
job.
it is your job to do that. It
No,
is
it's not
every
my
human
job.
being's job to not be a dick.
Is your job, David? Absolutely. It comes back.
It's not my job. It's not my job. I have every right. I have every right. Yeah, you do have every right.
I have every right. I
To
have the
not be a
freedom of
dick,
conscience to
too.
be a dick or an asshole.
Yes,
in this
you have as much freedom as anybody else. You're still a dick.
Okay,
And that's
I'm
what
a
I'm
dick.
saying.
And as I said, I've been
You just
called all
don't
kinds of
be
names
a
under the
dick to
sun.
the guy. Why not be a kind person, a nice human being, and just get the 5-minute conversation out of the fucking way? So the
As
police
is,
don't
I'm
have
there
to
for a
come
specific
and fucking
objective,
talk
and
to
I'm
you.
fulfilling it. I am there to remain silent and see how that all turns out. If it doesn't go right, then
you're there
oh well.
to
It doesn't go right. I
stir
document
shit.
it and deal with that stuff.
So you're
I
there to
am
stir
no-
shit.
I am no worse than a cop that sets up a bait car to look for car thieves or a prostitution sting or a drug sting or anything along those lines.
But you
All
are
I'm-
because you're a criminal. If a police
How am
officer
I a
gives-
criminal?
That is not
if
a
a
criminal.
police
He's
officer
not a
gives you
criminal.
a legal, if he gives you a lawful order and you disobey it, you're a criminal.
Yeah, and
if
I've
he's
told you
given a
not all
lawful
law.
order.
And as is, and I already stated, what you have stated isn't technically a lawful order. It's a request at best.
I see that you popped in, Felipe. Oh yeah, it gets. You might have some enjoyment with Kumite. Actually, I think you might enjoy it, Felipe, in joining me on the blood sports in the arena there. But it's quite interesting how the cop sat there and called me a criminal, when in fact I haven't broken the law. So it's quite interesting. And the thing is this later pretty much devolves into my this doesn't feel right versus what is legal. It pretty much, we're just completely missing each other on the argument where it's like, this is bad because I don't like it kind of situation. But I'm going, too bad you don't like it. Guess what? It's the law.
Officer gives
Midway, I mean, if he can perceive a credible threat from you standing there, then yes, technically it is a lawful order. But if it's just, hey man, back off, then yeah, you could reposition yourself. But nonetheless, why wouldn't you just reposition yourself? What is the problem with police? What is
because
your problem with law
he's hoping to win a giant lawsuit.
I'm
against a police
asking
officer.
him, what is
Why
your
do I-
problem with law enforcement? Honest to God, what's your problem?
My problem is the fact that they freaking violates people's rights, and I'm only after the bad law enforcement. The good law enforcement, yeah, good law enforcement, they don't cause any problems. I give them the kudos and all that stuff.
So what the security guard do?
That security guard, he didn't do anything wrong. As I said, he did exactly what his job was supposed to be.
After 10 minutes of him not doing anything wrong, why didn't you start to comply and just be like, yeah, sure, man, I'm just filming?
I don't have to comply. It's not my
No, you don't have to comply, but you're wasting the poor man's time.
I am not wasting his time at all.
You are wasting his time. He has to come out there and babysit.
He can go back.
Go be mopping a floor and be more productive than this.
What do you mean? All he was doing was standing inside that
goddamn time.
I'm not wasting his time. He's wasting his time coming to me. I'm in public.
Important.
I'm in public doing.
You're in public. Filming somebody's fucking either place of business or place of employment.
Yeah, well, he could continue doing his mop the floor or whatever. Take a note, call it up.
He could go mop a floor. He could go fucking watch other surveillance shit. He could stop something, but maybe something happens when you're fucking getting talked to by these goddamn people, and they're required to stand there.
That is on
him.
No,
it is on you, because you're the one wasting his fucking time with this stupid shit.
That's him wasting his time. Him making the decision.
Wasting his time. He has to go out there because his boss told him to.
Okay, then guess what? That's on the boss. He's
gotta go fucking check on your shit. No, it's on you! Because you're the one being the asshole!
Doesn't matter if I'm the asshole!
Yes, it does matter if you're the asshole! How does it not matter if you're the asshole?
Ichabod, wait a second. Now, hold on. I have a different way of looking at this. Ichabod, I just want, and even talking, I just want to have you guys just picture this in your head. What do you guys think you would be waking up every day if you thought, I'm the asshole. I'm going to go to somebody's job while I'm not at work and just fuck with them because I'm allowed to. Do you think you could live with yourself being that kind of guy?
You're allowed to do it, doesn't always.
And as I sort of stated earlier, I'm old fag. So, give some insight right there.
I mean, you should. I get that.
Yeah, I understand your argument, but as is, my objective is to look for the bad cops, document them, or bad law enforcement, and get that out there. And if there's good law enforcement, yeah, give them a kudos here and there and all that stuff. But otherwise, that's about it. That's
but you said you weren't a reporter. That's why you don't want to do ride-alongs.
No, I never said I wasn't a reporter.
No, so that's literally verbatim what you said.
Here's the thing.
So are you a reporter?
At best, I would consider myself media. Because I produce media, I don't do like neutral content news or anything.
Do a lot of the cop watchers do the media thing so that they can use the freedom of the...
Yes, they do.
Okay. Okay.
Well, the media argument applies in the same on the same legal aspects. That's the whole thing. Legal wise, media is still press and report.
There is a dropout there, so. See if we can skip back to when it comes back in.
I don't know, guys. Could be a situation.
Yeah, as I said, there was a cutout there. It's really hard because this is like 6 hours long, so me moving the dot just a little bit causes a little. I can miss stuff.
Something could have happened.
And it's on you that you're there. It's on you.
I'm just there.
So you literally are so bored with your free time, you just go and dick with people at their jobs?
At their job. Hey, I'm not the person that's telling them to come out and talk to me.
No, it's the boss, but they are there as a direct result from your actions.
And guess what? What if there's some other guy that's standing out there and taking pictures of the airplanes or something like that? Because guess what? Right where I was standing at, F-22s fly over that same spot.
Okay, so let me focus that. What if there's a guy out there filming the FAA building who's got a shotgun and plans on going in and blowing someone's face off? They're filming so they can figure out where the security guards are.
Well, guess what? You do the investigative work on that part. You can't figure that out.
That's what he came out there to try to do, but then you started being a dick to him.
I didn't be a dick to him. I just didn't answer any of his questions.
You did be a dick to him. Speak to the man. He's a human being.
I don't have to. I can exercise
You don't have
my
to.
right.
You can
No
be
shit,
that
nothing
spoiled
to.
child who screams, I don't have to. I've got the right. But motherfucker, it's still being nice to somebody. Dude.
Anyway, no, I didn't do this for 6 hours. I think we're at it for maybe a better part of 2 hours. So, but this didn't go on for like 6 hours, so I wasn't on there for the entire time.
I don't have to be nice in that situation when I'm doing my own work.
Officer,
nice in that situation. But you're still the dick in this, and it's your fault he has to go out there.
That's not my fault. It's his
It is
boss's
your
fault.
fault.
He's the one that
How is
either
it not
him
your
or his
fault?
boss made a decision.
Made a decision
It's
to go
not-
check out the suspicious guy filming a building.
And ask him
Now,
questions.
that
He didn't say anything.
suspicious
Why
guy
the heck
filming a
documenting?
building. If there was a suspicious man filming a building, and let's say he's not there, do they have to go check that particular fucking spot? No.
I don't know.
They only have to go out there because you're there. Which means it's your goddamn fault they have to go out there.
Well, what if it's someone that's out there tying their shoes or sitting there and having a lunch?
They're
Then
not
they're not
recording
gonna go
the
out there and arrest
building.
them.
Well, what's the difference between me recording the building and the guy sitting there and watching and maybe taking notes secretly, huh? Or secretly recording?
Secretly taking notes. If somebody's standing there with a pair of binoculars and a notepad, they're going to come talk to him too. But if it's a guy and his girlfriend and they're having lunch, guess what? They're fine unless they're trespassing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
well, here's the
literally
thing.
shooting yourself in the foot with your own
Here's
arguments.
the thing. Guess what? There is no legal difference, and you can't figure out if I'm filming and doing surveillance, or a person that's sitting there and having lunch with his girlfriend is doing surveillance.
Is he filming?
He might have a secret camera going. You don't know.
Well, hold on.
Ow.
It's a lot easier to tell if someone is trying to do some surveillance if they're fucking holding the camera.
Here's the thing.
Just like it's a
If
lot
someone's
easier to tell if
openly
someone's
holding
going
a
to
camera,
shoot you if
not
they're holding
doing
the gun at you.
surveillance. Huh? Oh, sorry, what was that talk? I accidentally talked over you.
No, it's the same way. It's kind of hard to tell if someone's going to start shooting people up if the gun's concealed. If someone's walking around with a gun, you're much more like, okay, that guy, he could probably shoot people because he has a gun. Or you look at someone who has no, it's the same thing.
You know, open carry is legal in the United States, right?
That's not what I'm talking about, though. It's like, I don't think that this person over here who has no visible gun, you know, and they're like in a fucking skin-tight suit, don't see any guns, I bet they're not going to shoot anybody. That's just a guess. They could pull a gun out of their ass. It could happen. I look over here, there's a guy who's strapped down looking like Deadpool. Okay, he could probably shoot somebody. I'll just keep my eye on him. It's the same thing with this. Surveillance, it's a lot easier to tell if you're doing surveillance when you're sitting there with a fucking tripod than if you're over there with a fucking picnic basket.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I stated,
You're trespassing anyway. It doesn't matter what you have in your hand.
yeah, and trespassing a whole different case situation. And my statements revolve around being in the public places where the public's allowed to be at.
You do realize that if you're like, say you're at the FAA building, we'll just use that as an example, or even
Yeah.
the sheriff's department. If you are on the grounds of the sheriff's department, they're allowed to walk up to you and identify you.
Within reason, legal reason, as is, depending on the state laws, in most cases, they're bound by Brown v. Texas, which limits that you're only you have to have articulable suspicion in order to arrest them, or I mean to identify them. And guess what?
They could very easily have suspicion because who goes to a sheriff's department or the FAA building to have a picnic?
RAS, reasonable articulable suspicion, is not the same as the other statement I just stated, which is underneath Brown v. Texas, which is dealing with identification. Identification is a completely different argument. Huh?
To be fair, yeah, the identification thing, yeah, you don't technically have to provide your ID.
No, and if they have,
I mean,
if they
it's
actually have
smart to.
legitimate suspicions, like if we have legitimate suspicions, we can still cuff you up and take you to the police department and find out exactly who you are by
That's an
fingerprinting
arrest.
you.
That's a violation of Terry v. Ohio.
It could be a possible detainment rather than an arrest.
In fact, actually, as I stated, there was a guy that just had that happen last year over in Texas after the Turner v. Driver case. That officer,
So
from
here's
what
the
I
thing.
understand, is no longer employed because he did that.
Okay. Now, here's the thing I want to ask you. I don't care about the legal ramifications. I want to know the why.
The why?
The actual why of this. So let me propose you a scenario. There's a man who walks into a public park, playground. He brings his kid. Yeah. The kid goes and plays. He is not visibly armed. He has no recording device. Another man walks up to that same park, and he has a video camera. Another man walks up to that same park, and he has a clearly visible assault rifle strapped to his back. He is open carrying. Let's say this is an open carry state. He has every right to do it. They both bring their kids go and start playing. Who is most likely to get walked up to by the cops?
I would probably suspect the guy that's open carrying.
Yeah, the man that's open carrying. And then if that open carry guy talks to the police, hands them their ID, hands them everything that they need, assuages their suspicion, who are they approaching next?
Well, obviously the next guy would probably be with the camera if there's any suspicion or something like that, but the cops, from what I understand, wouldn't approach the person.
Naturally, they'll approach the guy with the camera next.
But
now, they walk over to him, and he refuses to provide ID. He says nothing that assuages their suspicion. He says nothing at all and just continues to record in their face. What would be a reasonable reaction for that police officer?
To document it and move on their way, to be honest. That's the most they can do with that situation.
Do you have kids, David?
Okay.
No, I don't have my own kids, but I do take care of several kids I would probably consider my own. So.
Okay. How would you feel if you took them to the park and there was some guy there, not even like a creepy looking guy, looks kind of like you, and he had a camera filming the kids?
Take note of it, probably take a picture of them and maybe post it on one of the local groups like, hey, this guy was acting a little bit suspicious. But as is, there's nothing he's doing that breaks the law.
So you investigate.
It's funny how they go about with this argument they got going on, this hypothetical scenario that they set up. And it's like, they're making the camera guy to be worse than a guy that's open carrying, which is even funnier in this situation.
Well, as I said, the investigation's limited to a certain aspect. I document it, and that's about it.
Do you think a police officer would be within his rights of walking up to him and saying, hey, which one of those kids are yours?
He could. I mean, as I said, he has every right underneath Terravio Isle to go up and say, hey, and ask him questions like, which of those kids are yours? And if he doesn't answer, guess what? That doesn't increase it to where he can be arrested for anything else. All he's doing is filming.
But as a law,
and I want to expand on the situation. If you got your kids out in public, and I know this can be a very sickening thing for some of you out there. Let's say you got a pedo out in the playground, out there on the park, playground, whatever, taking pictures of the kids. Well, guess what? He can legally do that. He's out in public. It's part of the reason why I emphasize, if you're going to be out in public, dress your kids appropriately. If you're going to be out in public, dress appropriately. The thing is, also, when it comes to taking of pictures, there's also a big difference between taking the pictures and the publications when it comes to certain legal aspects. That is very important on those issues. And yeah, I don't like pedophiles. I don't like the people that go out there and do the upskirt pictures and stuff like that. I find that disheartening and sickening. And there are certain laws that do cover those aspects to some extent. But nonetheless, if it's just general photography out in the area, even if they're targeting people on the street, kids in the playground, if they're in a public area, they can. It sucks, but that's how it is. And it's also the reason why hate speech is legal in the United States. It's because we are so liberal in the freedom, prospects of our founding laws. The Constitution. The freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, the freedom of association and stuff like that. The First Amendment covers quite a bit and gives us huge freedoms. And yes, it's down to personal discretion and personal morals on how that's all handled. And you do have people that take it too far. But guess what? We have the freedom of choice in this country to make good decisions and bad decisions. That's just how it is. let us go ahead and continue on.
Law enforcement officer, I would have articulable suspicion that he is a danger to those children, and I have the right to identify him to figure out if he's a previous sex offender or not.
No, as I stated, you'd have to have something further. You have to have an actual crime that's ready to be happen.
That wasn't a question. That was a statement. I'm telling you that if I was still law enforcement and I saw that, I'm not saying, well, this is what I might do. No, I would walk up to his ass, ask him which one of those kids are his. If he answered me and said none of those kids were, and he's filming them, if he said none of those kids were, or he just refused to talk to me, I would ask him a few more questions. If he continued to refuse to talk to me, I would have articulable suspicion of him and those children. For their safety, I could figure out who he is and does he have a history of filming children or assaulting children.
No, as I stated, the legal wise, Terry v. Ohio doesn't allow you to go that far. He's just a suspicious person. You don't have enough to say that this guy's going to go and kidnap a kid. There needs to be more.
You're stating Terry v. Ohio, yet you don't think it's enough to do a Terry stop.
No, I said a Terry stop allows you to detain, but not arrest the guy and drag him off to identify him. Terry v. Ohio limits...
If he does not provide me identification, that allows me to identify him via fingerprints if I have to.
No, that is incorrect, because that falls underneath Brown v. Texas, then. There's multiple case laws that are at work here, man. And as I said, these are two different case laws, but as is, Brown v. Texas limits how far you can go with identification.
All right, so here's the thing. This is what I'm getting, Dave, and this is the reason I have a problem with you. You would rather let somebody who is clearly going to do something sketchy do that sketchy shit and make the police have to investigate a worse crime later than prevent that crime. You would rather not any preventative measures be taken because
I'm stating what
right
the limits are in the preventative measures. I'm looking to make sure that line is respected and understood.
So you would rather a crime be committed than somebody prevent it because you don't want that line ever crossed.
Okay, well then, if you're going to follow that line of reasoning? So you're all for the NSA looking at all your emails that go in and out on all your communications, correct?
Well, to be fair, I have nothing to hide. But
yeah, I have the same opinion, Ichabod. I don't necessarily care for it, but
I don't like the concept.
It's the same thing as a DUI checkpoint. I don't mind showing my driver's license and proving I'm not drunk because I have nothing to hide.
Aside from that, there's a very, very, very broad and bold line of the difference between federal influence and being a dick to local cops.
Well, and as I said, I generally deal with the federal stuff. I deal more federal than I deal with local.
You dealt with a security guard, man.
Yeah, that was at a federal facility, FAA.
It's just a dude. He's not some NSA agent spying into your emails. It's just a guy who had to go out there because he's got an asshole boss who says, you got to go look at the weird guy with the camera. He had to come down there and talk to you, and then he has to deal with the fact that you refuse to say anything to him.
That's life.
That's a little different than the government hacking into all your emails and reading all your emails. There's a big, bold line difference between that.
Well, here's the thing. I'm allowed to document what my government's doing. It doesn't matter if it's a damn structure or a person or whatever.
Gotta be
and that comes back to where me and you had our first argument at. I never once said you couldn't film me. Say, like in this hypothetical situation, never once said you couldn't film me have an interaction with a suspect. I said you couldn't stand 2 feet directly behind me. And it's not up to me. The onus is not on me to move for you. If I give you an order to stand away and you don't do it, you are interrupting my stop. You are breaking the law.
And guess what? I have already pointed out there's an activist over in Austin, Texas, that has been dealing with this kind of bullshit for a while there, and has taken them to court on several occasions. Been in court.
Did he not move?
He wasn't legally required to.
Yeah, but that's not the fucking point. It's called not being a dick to your fellow human beings, man. Just take the fucking step.
Let's see that comment there I just saw. So if I'm in a park with a camera and it's pointing in direction of kids, I can be detained. as is, when you're having a camera that's pointing at the kids, you are kicking off reasonable articulable suspicion, RAS, for a possible Terry stop. They get questions asked for you. Because they might think you're sketchy and stuff like that. It gives that middle ground enough, I think, in my personal opinion. I don't think there has really been a case specifically about that, and I would love to see, if anybody's got a reference case for that, I would love to see that. But that's a good question, Quentin James. But in my personal opinion, I would say yes. But, and obviously the cop would be definitely of the same opinion on that aspect. But as I said, a Terry stop is very different than getting ID'd while being forced to identify yourself. And also have, like, your fingerprints ran and all that stuff. But let's go ahead and continue on.
Be like, hey, yeah, sure. Take a step back. Give me the fucking ID. Let them talk to these fucking people. Just have the conversation. Take a 4-hour altercation and turn it into a 5-minute conversation.
And the other side to this, too, is really simple. You said that you don't hate cops. You're only out to get the bad cops and stuff. Then why are you just walking around randomly dicking with every police officer?
Well, the thing is you have to survey the entire field to see if you can find the bad ones.
You can also research their complaints history.
No.
Now, I'm going to go off on him on this one. You can research their complaint history. For the most part, every single person I've talked to that tries to do a records request for an officer's background history, not possible. Not possible.
No, you can't. Half that time.
Out which
do you know? Often the public records laws of most states do not allow you to look at police records and complaints. You can't do that. There's no way of doing that in a majority of the states.
In my state, you can, as long as the police officer was actually found responsible for what was going on. If somebody files a frivolous complaint, no, that's not going to be on his record because it was frivolous. Just like if you get charged with a crime and you're found innocent, it doesn't hang around on your criminal record.
And well, we have, how long has it been since police have, had to be part of the government? Let's just say it's been 50 years since police were still first created. I know that's ridiculous, but let's take that as a premise.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, I believe it's like 60.
You have, at the very least, you have 50 years worth of records that have been gone through, combed through, and seen that you could check up on. All a matter of public record. And then you could get a general idea on what departments have an issue with this. And then you would not be just walking up to random federal buildings, filming outside, and making some guy have a harder day.
The undetected ones are the problem. There are police departments that go and report it, and as I stated, those records are not available to the public often. Josh, okay, yeah, maybe in his state it's legal. Guess what? In most states that I have tried to pull police records and stuff like that, all that stuff, guess what? They say no, that is not allowed to be seen. We can't disclose that. It's against the law, or it's against whatever union agreement.
For recent records or previous records?
Recent.
Okay, you don't have to ask for recent to get a general idea of the department.
And actually, I'm like I said, I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to state that you're absolutely wrong. But if a police officer has something on his actual record, like a complaint filed against him and an action was taken, that is public information. You can put in a public request, as far as I know, in every state and receive.
As far as he's he's completely wrong on this fact. And the thing is Ichabod is now going to point out, hey, go and pull up all the past records. So the problem is, there's quite often that the Internal Affairs will say, oh, they didn't do anything wrong, so we'll go ahead and dismiss this kind of thing. We've seen this time and time again, especially with lawsuits. I make this argument later on, too, within the show. And on top of that, the thing is, Quentin James, if I'm in a park, no camera, and I'm looking in the direction of kids, can I still be detained? Possibly. That is a possibility, too. If you just look sketchy kind of thing, that is a possible RAS, in my opinion, to be detained. But the thing is, hey, Northern Colorado auditors, but when it comes down to it, going in and just digging for police records to look for history is not effective. Yeah, you can go and do that with, like, the big, huge police departments. Los Angeles Police Department. Oh, guess what? Everybody knows there's corrupt officers in Los Angeles. Same thing with New York City. What we're also seeing is out in the rural areas where there isn't really much of an accountability, where records can be probably, not really well kept. Internal affairs might be buddy-buddy kind of thing, or it might even be just you have the good old buddy system protecting everybody. You're not going to get those kinds of records if you put in those requests, even if you're allowed to pull them by the state law. We have seen quite often in the rural areas where people's rights are being violated for trying to record. A good example is Concern So-and-so's channel, Concerned People for the Constitution, whose brother got arrested for filming a traffic accident and was arrested that night. That was quite interesting right there. And there's been several other incidences where people that have gone out. What was it? Over in Nevada, that's right. That one guy that got hemmed up by that one lady at the government office. I can't remember every specific case, but I try to keep a note in my head for the noteworthy ones. But we have seen these kinds of problems before.
What was.
And Quentin James in Kentucky, if you're detained, you have to ID. As I said, in non-ID states, mandatory ID states, they have to follow Brown v. Texas case law. But there are states that border on they have sort of like a must ID kind of thing, and it's like Hannibal v. Nevada or something like that, that actually covers that specific aspect for those kinds of states.
Was actually done wrong.
That is incorrect, though. That is incorrect. As I said, in every state that I've tried to pull those kinds of records, or people that I know that have tried to pull those kinds of records, that is not available outside of actually going through a court action involving an actual case with that officer.
Yeah, you have to subpoena the records.
Yeah, that's the only time you get a chance to see those records, and that would be fall underneath the
Public Information Act.
No, for the court, doing it legal wise is required underneath something v. Maryland. I can't remember this first part.
Yeah, but you know that it's just like a 20-minute exercise, right? You just subpoena the records. You have to get a lawyer. That takes a little bit of money. But you have to talk to that lawyer. They go in, they subpoena the records, and about 2 to 3 days later, you have those records.
Yeah, you don't even have to go in front of a judge. You just have to go in front of a magistrate.
But that's an act. That's if there's an active case going on.
Negative. That's for any.
Oh no, that's not an active case. That's just their record.
Yeah, that's for the police that are involved for that actual criminal case or civil case or something like that. But when it comes to, I want me, General Joe Smo, I want to see all the complaints that have been legitimately levied against Joe Schmo. Like I'm over in Eugene, Oregon over here. I go to the Eugene Police Department. I go and request those. Guess what? They're in a state. No, we cannot divulge those records to you.
Yes, you have to subpoena them.
Yeah, in which case I have to have an active. I have to have an active case going.
No, when you subpoena something, you are opening an active case.
Yeah,
you are allowed to subpoena any. You're allowed to subpoena any records. You have to go in front of a magistrate and get the order. That's it.
It actually does open a current complaint case, and it's called an inquiry, and you can subpoena those records, and it's all amendment violations, maybe. It's all civil violations against that department can be subpoenaed under a subpoenaed inquiry.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. The thing is internal affairs has quite often a crapshoot on a lot of stuff, because I've seen civil cases where the cops have been found not innocent in the internal affairs investigation, but when it comes down to court, they're it turns out they violated someone's rights.
They're guilty.
They're guilty, and so those records
people tend to protect
don't always reflect that issue. And on top of that, the rural areas, which actually have a tendency to be more problematic and don't always keep records and stuff like that, even requesting records can get you arrested, and I have seen that before.
But Dave, what I'm asking is, why don't you even try?
I'm calling bull on that. I
want to know why he hasn't even tried. Why he's just bothering random facilities.
Because I have tried. That's the thing. I've mentioned that before. That's the part he missed. And also, California Garden has put out that, yeah, those records are confidential over in California, or at least in LA, if I remember correctly. And the thing is I'm getting ready to do a round 2 with, I challenged Ichabod Orange there to a round 2. And it would be interesting if I could get a few other, maybe auditors or civil rights people to come on and vouch for some of the stuff that I've talked about in this kind of stuff. So if you might be interested in maybe getting involved in round 2 and all that stuff, when this turns into a video, leave a comment when this goes to archive. And I'll try to reach out to you through whatever social media kind of thing to message you with or something like that.
Why didn't you even try?
What, the paperwork investigation?
Yes. Why don't you not even try the paperwork investigation?
Because it
at least go down that road. So
how many hours of your week
is
are invested in this? Just so that I know, Boots.
The act of filming, or just my entire thing I got going on here?
The operation, as you were about to say, yeah, the whole operation.
I do 20 to 30 hours a week.
So it's a full-time job, pretty much.
In a way, yes.
Actually, 20 to 30 hours isn't really a full-time. It's more of part-time to 3/4, depending on what I'm doing for that week. Because I got other stuff going on, too.
Okay, then that's not a hobby. I was gonna say, if you're doing this kind of in your free, I don't know. When it gets to that point, what do you want? What do you think people are gonna say about it? Like, yeah, if you see cops doing something wrong, whip out a camera, fucking record. I got that. But when you're sitting around pointing your camera at nothing, hoping that someone pitches a fit about it, come on.
I'm not sitting there hoping. I am hoping that I don't have an interaction. I'm hoping I have a boring video.
Bull.
So
Bull. You wouldn't be doing it if you were getting nothing but boring. And that was your goal.
If I was wanting to sit there and go out there, I would be out there filming every single day. What I'm doing is researching law and assisting people that have their rights violated. I'm not just sitting there always going out and filming. I'm helping other people too.
Hold on.
I'm not saying you like have to take everything from cops. I've had plenty of times when I've told a cop to go fuck himself. It's happened.
Yeah.
That's not the thing. The thing is that you invest so much time in it. That's what I don't get. Like just sitting there filming something. Here. What? I don't agree totally on either side, but that's not what's important. That's not what's important at all. I can't. There's not really that much that's super important in this one. You are wasting a lot of your and other people's time. Is mainly what you're doing, dude. You're just killing a fuck ton of time.
I'm not the only one that's out there investigating, and there's several other people that have just gone out there and filmed and been arrested or been screwed over.
That just doesn't justify being a dick.
Have you caught any of that, or are you just pointing your camera at security guards?
I'm pointing not just security guards. It's I'm law enforcement also.
But have you caught any wrongdoing yet?
Yes, I have.
What wrongdoing?
Improper security management around the president over in Anchorage, Alaska, where I was arrested for trespass. The charges were dropped because it wasn't a valid arrest. Yeah, I caught wrongdoing. It's minor. It's not mind blowing. Oh, the cop beat someone.
That's what I was about to say. How big of a deal was this? Was it kind of like there was a line and you were close to the line kind of thing, or what?
No, literally, I sat there and found a hole that they were not screening or anything like that. And then they sit there and say, this is actually closed off only to me, but not everybody else that walks through there. They were singling out the guy with the damn camera, which is illegal.
Yeah, because you're just a random dude filming shit. You don't have a press pass.
Well, no, not even that. Hold on.
Going in there.
Well, that's not even. That's not even like real wrongdoing. Yeah, that's a goofy infraction. Like, yeah, it's not great. You know, it's not great that they're doing that. It's not a great thing, but it's not the. I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, we have people that do open carry that documented police screwing them over and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's not just limited to the filming aspect. I've also involved with helping people out that did open carry and got screwed over by cops. People that are just taking innocent pictures. Oh, I'm out here doing photography. I like this general scenery kind of thing. Cops and security personnel have approached people that are out there doing photo shoots, like 4 miles away, well, a mile away from like an oil refinery, and been hassled by police or security.
Okay.
Why would you want to shoot an oil refinery unless you're trying to provoke someone?
He just said he's
Because it was a scenery.
Like getting photography. But here's the
Yeah,
thing,
this person
man.
was actually doing
We live on
photography.
planet Earth. There's scenery fucking everywhere. You can go any fucking where else.
As I said,
And
well,
if they're
the
just
thing-
coming up and be like, "Hey, we can't have you film in here," why not just go somewhere else, man?
because it's
Why do you gotta
in
be
this
the
case,
dick?
In that case, it
Are you
was
gonna
a
say my
photo
right?
shoot. It was a photo shoot with a model. It was
and?
on a
Okay,
fucking.
Here's the fucking deal, Ichabod. With that specific situation, the guy sat there, okay, we're gonna get all this equipment out here, we're gonna do a photo shoot. Okay, I like the background, I like the industrial aspect I see in the background. This is something I want in my photo shoot. For crying out loud, a photographer can sit there and in a public beach, sit there, put a model right there, have the damn awesome industrial background, so this way it looks whatever the hell he wants it, whatever artistic aspect he wants to go for. That's his fucking right. The thing is guess what? You may not like it, but they have a fucking right to do it. And that's the problem with both Bill Clinton / Joshua and Ichabod Orange. My feels versus what is legally allowed. You know what's funny? What else is going on for the past year, actually longer than the past year, that has been my feels versus what is legally allowed? Oh, I don't know. Identitarian politics, the unfortunate corruption of the Black Lives Matter, oh yeah, the social justice warriors, and freedom of speech. Oh yeah, Antifa versus anybody that is not along with their ideology. Several instances where it's my feels versus what is legally allowed. Yeah, we're seeing this kind of problem all over the place. And guess what? This is not just left versus right. It happens on the right-hand side of things too, as we can see, because quite often, statistically wise, people that are involved in law enforcement and also dealing with military, they're often more Republican than Democrat. They're more conservative than liberal. That's just how that stacks up and all that stuff. Anyway, continuing on here.
You said that it's a photo shoot, correct? Well, that means that if it's legal to do it, you should be able to stand the White House with a giant zoom lens.
Josh,
Of the
you
Secret
are
Service.
cutting out so much.
The
It
photo
is
shoot thing. The photo shoot thing. That seems like a different kind of deal. All right,
Yeah,
there are some things where wires get crossed. People have permissions, they lose permissions, or
There's
they,
no
permissions
when
are
it's a
forgot,
public
whatever.
feed. That's the thing. It was out in public. And Josh, you said something like telephoto lens with White House or something like that. Can you restate that sentence?
Yeah, do you not think that it's a little suspicious to be doing a photo shoot where you're doing it with a giant zoom lens of just the Secret Service and how they protect the president?
No, I'm sort of like, how is he jumping off the ledge here with telephoto lens and White House from a photo shoot on a beach? Now the thing is even if you're doing a photo shoot on a beach where you got something up close, the lenses that you often see photographers are working with can be like this. And you can mistake that for being possibly a telephoto lens just for a lens that big. But generally, the lenses are designed that large because they're changing the lenses inside. They got to deal with focusing. There's a lot of moving parts. Those things are not cheap often. And yeah, you can have something like this big, giant telephoto lens, but it doesn't make it any more illegal. If you can record it from a public place, you're allowed to do it. Whether it's the White House or like Area 51 or some military base, the FBI, courthouse, a submarine base up in Washington. Yes, I know about that one. Guess what? If I'm in a public place, doesn't matter how big of a zoom lens I put on it, I'm legally allowed to do it. I mean, this is pretty well handled with Area 51, where people climb a fucking mountain with giant lenses that take pictures of Area 51. They're legally allowed to do that. I haven't really heard about anybody getting arrested for doing that in the last several years.
That's a different manner, but
Different situations.
That's a different situation. As I stated, this was a photo shoot, and guess what? Photo shoots, their cameras, if you actually go for a look at professional stuff, they actually have, I mean, at least a large lens, so it looked like they might be trying to zoom in, though it's actually just
which means that they have a reason to be worried, man, don't they? They got a reason to be a little worried. Say, hey, maybe can you move a little further down the beach?
Okay, yeah, requesting.
So if
yeah,
I'm sitting across the street with a telephoto lens, taking pictures of, let's say, the lamppost, but your house is behind that lamppost, do you need to be worried about me taking pictures of your house?
In general, no, because guess what? Everybody can see your house from
now. Here's the thing: I was actually taking pictures of your house. I now have photos of you naked, and now they're all over the internet.
You shouldn't have been standing in the window naked.
Didn't think it was a problem.
Guess what? The windows
because you were dumb and didn't think it was a problem.
If you're standing naked in front of a fucking window, that is on you.
Yes, it is. But I'm still a dick for taking your naked photo and spreading it on the internet. Regardless of anything, I'm still a dick.
Publishing nude pictures is a completely different legal argument for a different day. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm not having.
Yeah. In fact, actually, oh man, it was almost 6 years ago. I think I read about a case dealing with the publication of a lady in a newspaper with her dress blowing up or something like that. The thing is taking the picture versus from a public view where.
Hey guys, sorry about that. The computer froze. I will be up. I have the thing up in a second. You'll have to give me a moment on that. Well, obviously the next. Oops. Let me get everything sort of back up to par here. So, give me a second here. Make sure I'm capturing the right window. Okay, good. I'm capturing the right window. Let me restore my chat. Unfortunately, I'm noticing because how badly I corrupt this computer here with my modifying. It's caused problems with stability and all that stuff. So, let me get back into my Discord here. Try rebooting that cop too. That's a good one. Okay, let me make sure. Okay, that's working. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back in. And I'm recording from the wrong source, or pulling from the wrong source.
Give me a second here. Okay, how's that? Okay, there we go. Fix the mic so this way it's coming from the better spot. And we can get back on track here. And I'm not sure where I left off there or where it froze at, so I'm just going to continue on from we were just at.
Next guy would probably be with the camera if there's any suspicion or something like that.
Oh, well, we're way far off here.
We're standing there talking to Ichabod about what happened. He probably doesn't want a camera stuck in his bloody face.
So I don't know. But here's the deal. You have given me about 20 non-starter arguments that I have to listen. You would feel like a dick because I punched a baby. You punched. You're required to. Why waste their fucking time? Why make this?
Hold on. Let me look at my live viewer real fast and. Whoops, wrong one. This one. I think is the one I need. Let me cut back and see where was the exact time spot I left off at. Where did where did I pause it at? You have to give me a second here, guys. Do apologize. Should probably make this window a little bit bigger too so you can see the chat. Okay, that is like 4:56 it looks like. Or actually better yet, I just turn on the volume here on this. Where did I leave off?
And the thing is I mean, we have people that do like open carry that have documented police screwing them over and stuff like that.
What else is going on for the past year? Oh, how far behind was this?
This was a photo shoot, and guess what? Photo shoots.
Okay. Got a rough idea where I need to be at.
The window. That is on you.
Ah, here we go.
Yeah, but I'd be a fucking dick walking down the neighborhood open carrying, and then and I get called that shit all the time. Different situation, as I stated. This was a photo shoot, and guess what? Photo shoots, their cameras, if you actually go for a look at professional stuff, they actually have, I mean, at least a large lens, so it looked like they might be trying to zoom in. Though it's actually just
which means that they have a reason to be worried, man, don't they? They got a reason to be a little worried. Say, hey, maybe can you move a little further down the beach?
Okay, yeah, requesting.
So if I'm sitting across the street with a telephoto lens, taking pictures of, let's say, the lamppost, but your house is behind that lamppost, do you need to be worried about me taking pictures of your house?
In general, no, because guess what? Everybody can see your house from
now. Here's the thing: I was actually taking pictures of your house. I now have photos of you naked, and now they're all over the internet.
You shouldn't have been standing in the window naked.
Didn't think it was a problem.
Guess what? The windows
because you were dumb and didn't think it was a problem.
If you're standing naked in front of a fucking window, that is on you.
Yes, yes, it is. But I'm still a dick for taking your naked photo and spreading it on the internet. Regardless of anything, I'm still a dick.
Publishing nude pictures is a completely different legal argument for a different day. Okay.
Okay, yeah, but I'm not having a legal argument with you. But I'm saying I want you to admit. That's all I want. Admit you're a dick for doing this.
I already said I'm a dick. I said I'm a dick, and I get called that shit all the time.
Okay, I don't care about you getting called it. I can get called 50 billion different fucking things, and it doesn't necessarily matter. But if you recognize you're a dick and you're wasting people's time, and it's not their fault, they gotta come out and deal with you. It's their boss's fault. And it's your fucking fault. Because you're the asshole standing outside filming, waiting for that reaction, fucking frothing at the mouth, just begging, come on, somebody come fuck with me. Come fuck with me, please.
No, I'm sitting there, I'm hoping for
my fucking channel. Motherfucker, dude, you are the dick. They aren't the dick. The fucking boss isn't the dick. You're the dick out there with the camera filming when you know you're not supposed to be.
Oh, I love that. He'll frothing at the mouth. Actually, if I was that way, I would be News Now Patrick, who is blowing up the freaking subscriber views and all that shit. If I was really frothing at the mouth for interaction, I would be more like News Now Patrick. I'd be more like Omaha Cop Block. But I'm not. If you go and look at, I mean, you go look at my videos. You go through the list. Quite often, a majority of anything I do for First Amendment tests or auditing or anything like that, guess what? Majority of them are boring. There's nothing that really happened, especially when I did First Amendment Fridays for like that 6-month period where I was putting out videos. A majority of them, nothing really happened. There was like, what, that one lady with doing a minor fender bender and stuff like that? Boots is Alex Jones! Oh, I love that one. They're making the frogs gay!
I am allowed to be there. I'm supposed to be there if I want to be.
Yes, oh my god, my rights. I can be there if I fucking want to be. Big fucking deal. If somebody comes out and asks you, just have the 5-minute conversation instead of the 4-hour altercation. Don't make a man have to come out there and deal with your fucking kindergarten toddler bullshit behavior.
Well, would I be a fucking dick walking down the neighborhood open carrying, and then all of a sudden everybody starts calling the cops on me?
If you're pointing at people, yes!
If I'm not pointing it, if it's just on my back or on my side or something like that.
It's just on your back. And a cop has every reason to come and ask you why the fuck you have a gun on your back.
Still make me a fucking dick.
And just answer the guy. Because the second you go quiet and refuse to give him any fucking information because of my rights, yes, you're the dick!
It doesn't matter. I'm illegally allowed to deny answering their questions. It doesn't matter.
You're a fucking legal citizen. It doesn't matter if you refuse to answer the question. You're not legally required to. Why waste their fucking time? Why make this?
Because I want to exercise my goddamn rights.
Sit out here and observe you being a fucking toddler.
Okay, so you want to be a son of a bitch. That's absolutely fine. I could care less. What I do care about is you giving people the false information, period. When you tell people they can legally do this, you are lying to them and are risking their safety.
As is, I tell them to do their own research on this stuff. And as I stated, if the public is there walking, you can be anywhere in public that the public's allowed to be at. If the cop does not want anybody 2 feet behind him, then he closes off that space in order to avoid that issue. But if he's going to continue to allow people to pass
traffic
behind
cones
him,
behind him, little 2 feet behind him, just set up some fucking traffic cones, wasting more of his fucking time, put a little fucking roadblock in the sidewalk because you want to be a fucking kindergartner.
See, we have a little tool for that. It's called a lawful order to step away.
Guess what? You have to tell that to everybody else who that passes by.
That's fine.
Okay, as long as you recognize it. You can tell him to step away, but you got to do that to every single person that passes by
so
that same spot.
So if he doesn't do it to everybody who's not a threat, it's not lawful if he tells you.
Yes, exactly.
So
it's
what you're
not
saying
lawful.
Is you are a fucking toddler.
I'm a toddler. I'm just stating what the line is at.
Oh my god. Laws, it's the rules. You can't do that. It's the rules. Dude, just take the 2 steps back. Be a fucking adult. Rather than hanging around like a goddamn toddler outside a fucking police station, feeling like, I'm gonna catch something bad today.
And then why don't you actually act like a member of the media and apply to ride along with a police officer? That way you can see everything, the most mundane to the most exciting. And the cops will let you stand wherever because they know who you are and they don't perceive a threat.
They're not going to let you stand wherever, and there's also still limitations when you do ride-alongs, depending on which agency you're doing it with.
Yeah, but you're certainly getting that fucking bird's eye view, that journalistic view there.
I'm not going for journalistic. As I said, I just document
shit.
That's it.
You're going to stir shit. That's all
because
you fucking want.
My problem
cause
is
a fucking problem for these
filming.
poor people.
I don't even care that you're filming.
I get it if you're like...
I care that you're giving people bad information. That's it. And you're slandering people too.
Josh.
Who am I slandering? Who am I slandering?
You are provoking.
Okay, first and foremost, don't use slander. That's not the correct fucking word for this situation.
Defamation?
I will get on everybody's ass about legal shit. It's one of the very things I'm testy about. Now, give me a fucking minute. Here's the thing, Dave.
You're making
everybody else is having to cater to you. You are not the center of the universe. If you went into that building and said, "Hey, I'm going to be outside and I'm going to film for a little bit," you wouldn't have had any problem. You can take reasonable fucking steps to not have to have a problem with police or security or law enforcement, anything like that. You can call and make a request. Hey, I'll be outside filming. This is what I'll be wearing. You don't have to worry about me. I'm not surveilling anything. And a security guard might still come out and talk to you. But be like, hey, are you this guy? How long will you be recording for? You just be a reasonable fucking adult and treat them like they're an adult. But you don't.
He won't
you
get
go
the
out there
reaction
like
he's
a... But you don't. You go out there and you stand around and you wait for somebody to approach you, and then you do give them the silent treatment because mommy had to send your brother out to go get you. You are a fucking toddler, a child playing with shit you shouldn't be playing with.
As I stated, I am doing everything I'm legally allowed to do.
Yes, you're sure doing everything you're legally allowed to do, but you're also wasting
you're going
time
on my feels. As if you're going off free on my feels right here because
you're going off free my rights. I can be a dick to anybody I want to because it's legally allowed.
Guess what?
If it was legally allowed for me to punch a baby, would it be okay to punch a baby?
In my opinion, no. But guess what? If it was legally allowed, I
allowed,
can't really do much about it, can I?
Yeah, you can. Punch me the fuck out because I punched a baby. It's called being a human fucking being.
And then I would get arrested for punching you, right? Or is it is punching completely allowed? Is punching in general all allowed in your scenario?
No, only punching babies is allowed. But yes, I would feel like a dick because I punched a baby. You punched me, and then the cops dealt with you. And then maybe I would be like, yeah, the cops may have overstepped their bounds.
David, I have a question for you, and this is actually something. And remember that I have done this job before. I have been on the other side of what you're doing. Now I want you to hear my reason behind why sometimes police officers.
I'm not sure. I don't have like a view counter that tells me who's watching from where. The guy that's on Twitch, but I'm streaming on multiple platforms. This is going to Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, and Periscope. So, but if you keep an eye on the chat box that's in the window, you're able to sort of converse with everybody that is across all those platforms. That's why it's in those locations. Well, I have it on the screen, so you can do that. But anybody else get a chuckle over the whole the punch a baby thing? It's just like, that is like the stupidest argument you can come up with. It's just like, oh, because it's wrong. It's like, no, you just can't do something then because you feel it's wrong. And that, I mean, that we're a nation founded on laws. Laws exist for a reason. There's a lot of things that get, I mean, that like big corporations and certain people get away with that I feel are wrong. But I don't sit there and take action because there's a legal recourse for that. And if if it's all legal and all that stuff, well, guess what? It's then my objective to go and change the law on that if I feel if it's that big of an issue. And as is, there's a difference between your feels and what is legal.
Officers might not want you filming what we're doing, even though about, I'd say, a good 70% of departments are either investing or already have body cams now, so you would be able to apply to get the public video of that. But anyway,
that is incorrect.
I'm about ready to correct him on that, because guess what? North Carolina, you can't get it. In multiple jurisdictions, the police unions are actually making it, trying to push that, make it harder to get public access to dash cam and body camera videos that the police department records. Even for the people that are recorded for those interactions. North Carolina being the worst right now.
North Carolina or North or South Carolina has it where you have to literally go to court over getting access to body cameras of your own incident. It's not
and
open.
That's why
You
it
put in a
wasn't a
request
starting
again.
argument.
okay.
Okay, here's the thing, Josh. I'm going to be honest. I don't believe you were former law enforcement. I don't actually believe that.
Failure seeing me in my uniform.
I haven't, so I don't know. But here's the deal. You have given me about 20 non-starter arguments that I have to listen to him refute with some random stupid shit.
I didn't even give him
I'm
an
going to
argument.
be blunt here. He is well within his legal rights to do what he does. I'm just saying he's a dick doing it.
And
no
I said he's a dick
standard
for giving people bad information.
Yes, it is bad. It is poor form to do this.
Things that are going to
And
get people
sometimes
arrested.
bad shit will happen because you do this kind of shit. Do you acknowledge that, Dave? Bad
There's
shit can
always
happen doing this stuff.
Yeah, there's always that risk of bad shit happening. It's always there. I have never de-emphasized that there is a chance of risk when doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You could be randomly, random person could take offense of you filming, walk up and punch you or slug you. It's actually happened in the past.
Now, let me
And
get my question out here about the reason why. Well, it isn't even a question, it's just a statement. Why some cops do not want you filming what we're doing. Say Ichabod and Tonka got into a fight, and say Ichabod got stomped into the ground, and we're standing there talking to Ichabod about what happened. He probably doesn't want a camera stuck in his bloody face while he's sitting there telling us about how bad he just got his ass kicked. Do you not
guess what?
see?
You close off the scene and you make sure no one gets near where you're sitting there and interviewing the person, the victim, or the suspect, or both.
Exactly.
You do realize
You do it at the
concussion-
car, and you say, everybody got to stay 5 feet away. Guess what? I can
Dave.
stand there with the damn camera 5 feet away and film it.
Dave,
Yes.
you realize that's being a dick, right?
Yeah, but guess what?
Just
I'm
because
documenting
you
what the
can
hell
do
public.
something doesn't mean you should. You're not doing anybody any favors. You're not helping anybody.
And with
You're
your
just making other
behavior-
people have a hard fucking time.
I
When
haven't
you
even
actually
seen the
record
video.
a cop doing something horrible, then you will have helped somebody. But up to now, you're just being a dick. And where you may be a dick with a noble goal, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Maybe, but as is, what I'm doing is completely legal.
Don't as is me and don't tell me it's completely legal. Everybody knows it's completely fucking legal, but you also legally wasted that poor man's time for how fucking long was that video?
How
long were you
about
filming?
20 minutes. He was there for like about almost 20 minutes.
Okay, just him, or did other people have to come deal with your
There was
shit,
two
too?
officers that responded to that call.
Okay, so you understand that at the very least for 20 minutes you wasted a man's time where he could be productive doing other shit.
That he's a security guard. His pretty much job is just to sit there and watch shit. That's about it.
God almighty.
Yeah, but he could have
anything, I
done
might have
other
made it more
things that were more productive than coming out and dealing with somebody who refuses to talk.
As I said, that's on them.
No,
They-
it's on
they-
you
they
because
gotta-
you're.
This is what gets me with this thing. He could be using his time more productive. A security guard is generally just a sentry there to either be a preemptive deterrent for a possible intrusion, or to be a responsive action to a possible security issue. For me, and I stated this in another live stream, that I would actually I would get a chuckle out of this. In fact, when I was doing the J-Bear video, I noticed the gate guards that sit there and wave the people by. They're getting a chuckle out of me out there filming, kind of thing. I mean, that's why I gave them the creepy wave and all that stuff. I gave them a little bit of entertainment, a highlight of the day that made it stick out, not to be so monotonous and damn boring. If I was working security and some guy was standing at, let's say, at a mall, or no, but anyway, let's say I was in the guard's position at the FAA. You know what? I would not consider that a waste of my time. In fact, I would get a chuckle out of it. I'm pretty sure he did get a chuckle out of that. That would be a highlight of my day. And I've done security in the past. I sat there and did gate guard when I was in the military. I sat there and watched security cameras. I've actually helped catch stuff on security cameras too, because I was really good at aiming the cameras when there was something going on that was really suspicious. But as is, it's not really a waste of their time. And that's what their job is there to do, is just to keep an eye on shit.
The one out there doing it.
He could have came out, talked to me for like 5 minutes, or tried to talk to me for 5 minutes,
if you
and then went back.
responded to him, yeah, you could have had that conversation.
I don't have to respond to him.
You don't have to respond to him.
If I'm doing his job, because I've done security,
to not think of these security guards and police officers as fellow human beings, and even worse if you've done it before. Do you? Because I fucking talk when a human being comes up and talks to me.
Yeah, I pulled security when I was in the military. I sat there and watched.
Okay, so when people came up and talked to you, did you talk back to them then?
Yes, because it was my job.
Why does he not deserve that courtesy?
Because
why does he not deserve that same courtesy?
Because I don't have to. Legally,
because you're a child.
Because I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right, the right to remain silent, and guess what? Not many people.
You know the Fifth Amendment only applies if you're doing something wrong, right?
And it also only applies when you're under
arrest. It's the right not to incriminate yourself.
Yeah, well, I still have that right to not answer the question.
And a police officer has every right to identify you.
That's your
no, he
Miranda
does
rights.
not. And we already stated this. Terry v. Ohio and Brown v. Texas cover this aspect.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Why
don't you go get pulled over and tell a state trooper, I'm not going to give you my driver's license.
A traffic stop is a different issue, because if you're getting pulled over, most likely it's a traffic infraction you're getting pulled over for.
If we have probable cause.
Okay, let Ichabod. Let him go ahead.
It is an important distinction that the Miranda rights, which is what you're quoting, it's not the Fifth Amendment. That's strictly the right to not incriminate yourself. Miranda rights are also not to incriminate yourself, and they only apply after you've been placed under arrest. You have every right to sit there and be a dick, but he has every right to be more and more suspicious of you as you refuse to say anything. Because you are being belligerent and giving him no information that could take a 20-minute altercation and make it 2 minutes.
Wait, it's belligerent not to answer someone's questions?
Yes, it is belligerent when you're asked a direct question to not answer that question.
You
don't have to give him the information he wants, but at least speak to the man. It's called common fucking courtesy.
That's the first time I've heard of someone referring to staying silent being belligerent. Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you never dealt with a toddler before?
Yes, I have.
They will be belligerent little shit by not saying anything every fucking time. Which one of you broke this jar? None of them say shit. That's belligerent fucking behavior, dude. And that is exactly what you're doing.
I don't consider that belligerent.
Who's the one filming? Nothing.
Yeah, well, I guess what? I mean, a non-answer is just as good as an answer.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay. What he comes up? What if I start speaking Spanish or something like that?
Then at least you spoke to the man, and he knows that he needs a Spanish translator, which he can go and get, and then they can come out and say hi to you in Spanish.
Or started doing sign language.
Then he has to go get an interpreter for sign language.
But this is
But you're
Because
clearly not a threat.
Because we've had people get hit, assaulted because they were doing sign language and they thought they, at least.
I'm pretty sure that security guard could have recognized.
That's
sign
going
language.
quite a bit around the bend, but.
Yeah, well, as I stated, the thing is, though, I have every right to give a non-answer just as much as to speak if I want to.
Yes, you do, but that non-answer could at least be in words. You have every right to do it, but it doesn't mean you're being, you're treating him like a human being. Because what you did there is you just unpersoned that dude. He wasn't good enough to talk to because he wore a uniform.
Unpersoned. No, as is, I sit there. I was out there with a specific goal, not to respond or talk to the
dude coming up making a reasonable question. Man, who are you?
He who works at the facility that I was sitting there and
because
testing.
you're recording his facility.
Yeah, and guess what? I was.
You think his
testing.
boss didn't tell him he has to come out there and deal with your ass because you're just doing it?
And his job is security, and you pose a security threat, David.
It's not a
Technically,
security
you do.
threat if I'm.
It
legally allowed to-
really is. You're recording the facility. It's a security threat. It's a reasonable suspicion of being a security threat. It's his
reasonable
job to come deal with people doing that shit.
Suspicious activity. I can agree with that, but it's not
Yes,
a
which
threat.
means people acting with reasonably suspicious behavior on your grounds is a threat because you don't know what they're possible. It's not a direct action, but it is a threat.
Okay.
Yeah, what was it? Sick of stupid. Yeah, unpersoned. I'm unpersoning people. In fact, the chat was actually enjoying the whole unpersoned argument kind of thing. Though I don't think it'll actually catch on as a small little meme. Though I get it. Maybe you guys could have fun with that when I do my next silent treatment or something.
All right. Well, I think at this point we're kind of going in circles. I don't think we have. Let's read some super chats and see what the public thinks. VG,
Don't unperson
DR.
the crowd. Failure.
I'm unpersoning. All right. VGDRR says, "Come on, it's fine. Imagine how boring that this dude's day is." Andrew M says, "Press 1 to kick this loser. This is a snooze fest." I think it picked up a little bit when Ichabod and Josh came in. Worst item I'd ever says $5, but failure filming in a public place is doxed and herder. VGED says this man is
a quick background on the filming in public kind of thing. That's actually in reference to a channel owner named No Bullshit, who someone took a picture of him. I think it was Failure that took a picture of him while he fell asleep at VidCon last year, and apparently it sort of became a little bit of a big deal at some point, and the accusations of doxing was thrown around.
Hero Darker Shale says the producer needs to start booking guests. Cancer was easier to get through than this muffin. Dragon Strike Thunder 4 says this guy is an autistic faggot and a menace to society.
Which one?
I think they're talking about David. I think that person might want to update their super chat. Let's see. Ocam's router says he's recording right outside Elmdorf AFB gate. I lived right up the road from there. Security is strict as one might expect. This guy is lame. Elusive Lady Cat says, I didn't want to know about any of this. This is terrible. I want blood sports. TC says they probably think you're a terrorist retard. Rari says I'm here for blood sports, not for bitching. Kill him. Lenska says Bunny Brockovich is on the case. Worst that might ever says it was already terrible. Now CRP. Fuck this. Supreme Sports. His father should have ejected him into a tissue. Oscar Perez says for $5, don't be fucking with MPs. If you are recording staff military gates, you are endangering personnel. Outsiders will be looking at your footage, dumbass. VGED says chat's dilemma is beating this autist worth giving a win to CRP. Supreme Pork Sword for $2 says normally he films POV rim job porn. Supreme Pork Sword says, you know who else films government buildings? Terrorists. You're wasting the resources used to protect our infrastructure, you moron. Mr. Picture says, "Get a job, you born jackass." Worst Enemy Ever says, "This isn't the real CRP. The real CRP died of old age. This is a troll. R.I.P. Boomer."
He did.
So Silva says, "Can't wait for the videos after Dave gets shot." You ever been worried about that, Dave?
It's crossed my mind, but how should I put it? If it happens, it'll happen, and if I survive, I survive. So
He'll be a martyr for the cause.
At least if you're about to get tased, don't say "Don't tase me, bro." Just
yeah, me and my friends have an
don't
ongoing
tase
joke
bro.
with that.
I think it needs to come back. It needs to come back.
Don't
Make
tase
the
me, bro.
best joke ever, man. Hands up, don't shoot right before they shoot you.
Bernie Strongbear says, "Oh yeah, all police are just doing their job. We should all go along with the police state mentality." Salva says, "Fuck this guy for using the military POG shit." Supreme Pork Sword says, "Camera cuck David equals malarkey." $2 is just message retracted. I have no idea what that message was. They took away their own message. They just left $2. BHG says Zaz for $2. BHG's again just put down $2. Aussie Manda says CRP is a pussy. He'd eat ass if asked by a cop. Worst Item I'd Ever says, "As if my tax dollars aren't wasted enough, we have this guy intentionally acting in a suspicious way to attract the attention of the police to make YouTube bucks and possibly sue a city, state, etc." I gotta ask you, are you making the YouTube bucks?
It's very mild. It barely even breaks even with all the expenses I put into all of this stuff. So I do pull ad revenue. I pull donations too. Donations actually cover probably more of the expenses than the ad revenue at times.
All right. Worst Item I'd Ever for $2. Suspicious activity is a fucking thing faggot. Silva says, "I miss V." Nobody misses V. Jeez. Rest in peace, V. Silly Noob for $10 says he's provoking the police and to try to get arrested so he can then cry foul that his civil rights are being violated and therefore cops equal bad. Supreme Pork Sword says people like David actually cause bad court decisions because they make very unsympathetic plaintiffs in civil cases. He's actually doing a disservice. Worst Item I'd Ever says, "Videotape my house, boot boy, and they will never find the pieces of your body or your fucking camera." Austin B says, "Holy shit, this is crazy. Anyone is allowed to film anything in the public space. If you can stand on the sidewalk with a telephoto lens, you are legally allowed to film anything in view. Being a dick is not illegal." And that was for $20. Let me see. Supreme Pork Sword says he isn't merely documenting a scenario, he is creating a scenario by being a dick. Austin B says freedom of the press is a right given to citizens, not a special right given to members of media. S.E. Joe says, is his name son of Hightower?
No, not even close. I do know the person that he's probably referring to, so.
D. Round says he is a kid holding his hand in front of your face yelling, "I'm not touching you." Lost Wingman 07 says for $5, these fuck nuggets probably think that the Patriot Act was a good thing because it makes the job of law enforcement easier. Don't be a dick, submit. Edmund Ploppy says for $5, whatever those bucks are, where is the beautiful Romanian and why isn't he here using his voice to rupture my brain and end this misery? Can we get Tonka V?
We still have like 90 things.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, it's not. I mean, close to dead even, but it's definitely leaning on the side against me. I could say that much from the basic sounds of the super chats there.
Steve Green for 5 says this is for failure for bringing the shit to an end and repersoning all of us in the crowd. Dragon Strike Thunder Force for 5 says I meant David. He's the sovereign citizen bitch. Jim has a whole series on these stupid cucks.
He has a series on sovereign citizens, but not specifically what I do, which is a whole different
being
issue.
a dick.
We are borderline though, in
being
some
a dick.
aspects. Yeah, being a dick kind of thing. And Ichabod, I have a
Ichabod,
question.
you're unpersoning him when you call him that.
Yeah.
At least I recognize that he's not a person.
Would you like a chance to possibly talk with the Philip Turner, the guy that was involved in that case?
If he'd like to.
Okay, I can try to reach out now because I'm
can
pretty sure you would have a great conversation with you about the entire case law and on possibly. I'm not sure which
I
platform.
don't give a shit about the case law. I'm just saying treat the dude like he's another dude and fucking be nice to him. That's all I'm saying, man. I don't give a rat's ass about the case law. I just didn't support your claim.
Okay, well, as I said, I think there can be some leeway specifically on that citation you got there. So, as I said, it's been about a month since I actually read that, so I have to go back and review
that's why
the
you shouldn't
entirety.
quote it. Know what you're quoting before
I do.
you quote it, because that's very, very important.
And it was
Anyway, I'm going to point out that I'm pretty sure, as I said, I wasn't going to really derail the whole blood sports of yelling at each other and all that stuff on that thing to go and try to dig it up and do the citation. I wanted to come back and look at it a little bit later without the rush of having to deal with reading it all. But it's quite interesting with the rest of these super chats and donation things that we got going through here. So let's finish listening up to these things.
That plays right to my problem with you, David, is because you were acting like you have every right to stand right on top of a cop and you don't have to listen to him, you don't have to talk to him. You're going to get people arrested by doing that.
I was just stating where the line is at legally, and if they get arrested, that's going to be a whole matter of in itself of was the order lawful? Well, the lawful order actually legal or not in the situation? Because when it comes to these kinds of things, context matters a lot.
You think after this conversation, you might be a little bit less of a dick to somebody that you know for a fact gets sent out there to have to talk to you? At least give them a hey.
I'm still going to do the silent treatment in the future, so it's not going to dissuade me at all.
So you're not going to...
I'm going to unperson the shit out of you.
It's the only word I could come up with for it, man.
No, that's my new favorite word.
It's pretty good.
We know a couple unpersons.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's funny. I actually enjoy the meme, so or the potential memeing of that.
Well, I appreciate you you all coming on and having a go. I do have 5 days to fill, so people coming in and having a go, no matter what it's about, I'm all for it. Even I don't know. I even got a new word. Unperson is my new thing. I'm going to be telling everyone they're unpersoning me. I'm going to be threatening to unperson people.
Congratulations.
Shun the unpersons. Shun them.
I've been gone for quite some time, but seriously, congratulations on your success, man.
By the way, for people who don't know, Josh EC is actually one of the early Kumite veterans. Not most liked by the audience, but well, welcome back.
As a brief side note, Tonka, you have to stick around until at least after August because I have a bet with Poffit.
That's almost a
And
year.
I have to win that shit.
That is almost a fucking year.
Yeah. But think of
Maybe.
the possibility of spiting Poffit.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
What is Tonka looking at? Maybe retiring from the Kumite or something?
I was looking to retire from the Kumite right before it got big.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I found you after you got big, so.
Oh, it's amazing.
I'm a fairly recent joiner of the listening to the Kumite when I have free time.
Yeah, well, that's how you get on
Tonka has a
person.
tendency Tonka has a tendency to look at the Kumite and be like, mistakes were made.
Mistakes were fucking made.
Now you got something to listen to while you go harass the security guards.
Oh, fuck.
No, I'm not doing the shaving of the beard thing, so.
Okay.
God damn.
Thank you to Andy. A thank you to Sofane who popped into the chat. A thank you to who all came in here. Fuck. Josh.
Coach Red Pill.
Yeah, Coach Red Pill, Joshy, Ichabod. You, Boots. Thank you for coming in. Appreciates everybody for jumping in, making the show a show. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. More show. Maybe a little less cop watching. Tomorrow. Maybe a little less unpersoning of people.
No shit.
Maybe a little less unpersoning.
All right, that's enough of the series there. So what you guys think? Great discussion, but I have to go. I have a date with stock market. 9:30. Yeah. Sorry for those of you that probably were thinking this was going to be a quick live stream or something like that. No, this one was going to be lengthy because I covered a good portion of the discussion area that I was on. 30 days, who goes with the biggest beer, wear a dress. Oh, yeah, that challenge. That's, I actually just saw that thing going on between Silent Citizen, was it One Eye Fox, and dang it, drawing a blank on the other person that's getting involved. But yeah, there's a couple guys that's sitting there and doing some sort of how fast they can grow a beard challenge thing going. But Lady Saga, fear the beard, me. Yeah, this was for me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing this debate and the yelling and all that stuff. But I'll sit there and have a civil conversation. And in fact, the next live stream I'll end up doing will actually, well, my own live stream will be dealing with taking a look at the conversation between me, Weeboo, and dang it, who's the other person?
And sometimes that.
Oh, Foxy. Yeah, Foxy. Where we discussed the whole police and safety issue, and they tried to insinuate that I said it was easy when I never made such a reference that the job was easy. But as is, this was quite lengthy. How should I put it? If you guys want to see me on more Kumite or whatever, pop in there over when they're up and going. 10 a.m. Central is when they start. 11 p.m. Eastern, as Failure said. And ask to have me throw it in there and have someone challenge me or give me a good challenge. As I said, I throw down the challenge back over at Ichabod Orange. I gave a link to his channel. I'll also make sure to give a link to Coach Red Pill, so this way he can get credit. Don't go and harass their channels. That's all I got to say on that part. If you go over there, say kudos for at least popping in and debating with me and all that stuff. Will you use your blue mic boom? No, I don't have it on a boom. It's sitting on the standard stand. It's on a desk, and I just sit back from it. So, yeah, as is, I would love to have more fun. Tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central. I mean, not Central. 3 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be doing, what is it? Strategic Non-Compliance with Mike Bluehair. We're hopefully going to have a guest lined up for tomorrow afternoon, so it should be quite the interesting aspect. It will be interesting because I think this would be the third person I've talked with in the past week that's in law enforcement. So you guys have a good night out there, and see you around.